Hello, hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time of day it is. I think for most people who are going to tune in today, it's going to be evening time for most of you as far as I'm aware, or not evening, afternoon or evening. How are we all doing today? I just realized I forgot to share all these links, so give me a second while I make sure that they're all going onto my proper feeds and everything. Content live. Wow, I've been doing so much streaming, and that is not going to keep up for the rest of the year. I just have a lot of time and a few things that I wanted to do at the beginning of the year this time around. Don't switch all of that. Updates. Here we go. Let us just see. That's not what I wanted to do. Oh, that's not what I wanted to do either. Let's just copy that. Hello, hello. How are we all doing today? So today is going to be, compared to the past 2 days, a shorter stream just because the last 2 days we were listening to a ton of music. Today we're just making a tier list of all the shows that I watched. I know the title says ranking every anime, but who watches every anime anymore? That is for anyone who's a working adult like me, we don't have time for that. So let me see. What am I trying to what should I say? What should I call this? Streaming my tier list of all the anime I watched in 2025. Okay, so now it is up on my Discord. And I think that should be it. I don't have anything too intense to prepare right now. Hopefully my voice holds out because I have been sick these past couple of days and I woke up a few times in the night and my throat felt pretty bad, but it's feeling good now. So let's keep our fingers crossed that it stays this way. And yeah, so I don't want to waste too much time. I will just jump into it because I've got to get some stuff done today. I want to go get a haircut because this is getting out of hand, at least as far as I'm concerned. So, why don't we just jump into it? And then maybe I'll also talk about some of the other shows that I watched that were not specifically 2025 shows. Uh, but yeah. So, here's the tier list that I have so far. This is not everything, there's more stuff down below. Um, and yeah, so these are all the shows that I watched at least. And we are going to just go through them and see how everything kind of holds up. I think initially these were all in order of the season that I uploaded them in, but for whatever reason, I guess maybe it was the title of the files or something, they all got swapped around to random sections. So I don't actually know what season each show is from. Not that I think it matters too much, but I might need a refresher in case. And just to quickly go through all the rankings, I think it's pretty straightforward. S, A, B, C, F, and then a drop or a pause. Um, Most of the time, a drop, a drop is going to be pretty low ranked. In my case, and uh a pause can be anything. A pause can be either it's a low ranking show from my perspective or just something that I felt like I didn't want to watch right now while it was airing and then maybe forgot to come back to or just haven't come back to yet. Um but yeah, F tier, pretty self-explanatory. C, uh, actually, I guess maybe I'll go through this again because I did it last year as well. S is like highly recommend, and then would also rewatch on my own. Uh, an A tier is highly recommend. Wouldn't necessarily rewatch on my own, but might rewatch on my own or like rewatch with a friend. B is probably not a rewatch, but maybe worth seeing, depending on the person I'm possibly recommending it to. And then C tier is like you could skip it, and I wouldn't mind either way. Um, so these are all mostly going to be ranked based on my enjoyment. That tends to be how I rank things. I don't think too hard about any of the other stuff except for maybe music, but then in that case, I would be making a whole video on it if I thought it was worth talking about to that extent. So yeah, why don't we just jump into it? So first up on here, we have ReZero Season 3, and if I'm being totally honest, I don't actually remember a ton about season 3. I know it was really good, but also I think this is the first season where I wasn't also keeping up with the novels. Uh, so I think I had read maybe the first episode or two's worth of season 3 into the novel, and I past that I didn't know what was going to happen. So I think that might be why my memory of it is a little bit less clear, but still a good season. Should I put it? I don't know. I think for the time being, I'm gonna keep it in. I'm gonna put it in A, just as a sort of a baseline, and then I will probably end up moving things around as we go along. But I think just because, at least from my perspective, I don't have a super clear memory of how it went. I kind of vaguely remember things that happened in it. But what season was ReZero in? Also, that's what I wanted to click. I feel like it was early on. Was it spring? Maybe I don't, yeah, it would be pretty high up in this list if it were here, so I feel like it would be a spring show. Wait, what? Where is it? Where is ReZero? Or was it a continuing thing and that's why it's not coming up? Or am I just dumb? Here, hold up. I need to do an actual search. Oops. ReZero. No, ReZero. Nope. ReZero. How does this title work? Let's see. Zero. That's not it. That's not it. Oh, there we go. Oh, okay, so it was continuing from fall of 24. That makes sense. Oh, right, because they split it in half and did like a weird 8 episode per season thing. I remember now. So yeah, it was just the second half. Okay, that makes sense why it's not sticking out in my mind as much as well. Um, okay, well, yeah, ReZero. I think that's fair to leave it in the A tier category for the time being. I might change it to S, but we'll see what happens after that. So then, moving on to Turkey. Turkey. The show about bowling and nothing else, because why would as you can see from the picture, it's clearly a bowling anime where cute girls bowl and don't do anything more intense than that. So Turkey is see, I think that's pretty easy one. Yeah, I think the twist more than anything in the very first episode, like the end of episode 1, the twist there was more funny than it was like a big like whoa kind of moment, and then everything that came after that uh wasn't that good. I think I might have given Turkey like a 6. But for me, like a 5 is pretty much the lowest I tend to give things until it gets like really bad. Otherwise, I just drop it because most of the time, anything beyond that is too bad for me to want to keep watching. I think the last thing that I watched all the way through that I rated less than a 5 was The Angel Next Door. Uh, whatever it was called, Tonari no Tenshi Amai Sugi. I don't remember. It's the one with the blonde girl, and I just hated everything about that show. Terrible, terrible, and I don't understand why it got rated so highly. But not a realistic or even desirable sort of romance story. So I don't really know what people were looking at with that, but maybe I'm just getting old too, but I do still love my good old classic shoujo romances, which speaking of, drop. Honey lemon soda, I couldn't. Oh, why are we not updating? Come on. Come on now. Please update. Show me that you are responding to my thing. Why is it not? Oh, wait, no. Okay, hang on a sec. Why are you not responding to me doing this? Hold on a second. Oh, there we go. Took it a second to reload. That was weird. Okay. But yeah, Honey Lemon Soda was not good. I did not enjoy it. I thought that the characters in it were just so poorly written, and then not just the characters, but also just the writing in the show in general was pretty terrible. Like everything that happened, it was like so she felt very, for lack of a better word, autistic, which is not a bad thing in itself, obviously, but like I don't think that's what the creator intended. I don't think she was meant to be an autistic character, but she was 100% an autistic character. The main girl, I forget her name now. But yeah, just that alone is not the worst thing because I could argue that for a lot of anime protagonists. They feel kind of like that, but hers was just taken a little bit more to the extreme. But the main guy, I don't understand why he was supposed to be popular because he was just an asshole the whole time, and every way that he communicated his own sense of his personality, it was just like I'm a dick and I'm gonna be a dick this entire time. But every single character in the show seemed to interpret it as, oh, he's not actually mean, he's just misunderstood. And I was like, no, 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 we don't do this. Like, tsundere characters are already bad enough, but at least they have a lovable side, whereas this guy just feels like he's being mean all the time for no reason, and for some reason that made him popular. And then the writing was also just terrible, like him sticking up for her in class one time and just being like, no, she's not dumb, she's actually cool, and then everyone else being like, yeah, you know what, she is cool. And I don't know, it felt almost Disneyfied in how silly it the situations it put them in. And I don't know, it was just a bad caricature of what like a good shojo romance should be. Uh, and I don't actually, now that I'm thinking about it, I'm not sure if did we actually get any like good shojo romances this year? I think we had some decent ones, but I can't, looking at the list of things that I watched, I at least didn't watch any of the what you might consider good ones, but we'll get to that as we go along. So moving on to another, oh, early airing show. Was this even? I think this was a carryover. So we have Danmachi season 5, the Freya arc or the war arc, however we wanna call it. I think this was a carryover. Yeah. Yeah, season 5 of the war arc with in Danmachi, and I quite enjoyed this a lot actually. I think I can make a quick decision about this. I think this is B tier. Mostly because I don't think that people, if you already don't like Danmachi or you're kind of tired of it at this point, I don't think saying that season 5 is amazing is going to convince anyone to watch it. So, I put it mostly in B just because I think people who are already interested in the show are the only ones who are going to watch it, and then me saying that it's a good show is probably not going to get anyone to start watching the show. But yeah, it's good. I quite enjoy Danmachi every time it comes up, and it's only gotten better since season 1. Uh, the the title of the show I know throws a lot of people because they think it's just going to be a dumb harem, whereas doing a bit of light research about the light novel and everything, you can quickly find out that this show, uh, or the light novel and everything, the author didn't even want to call it this, but because that was the trend at the time, and his editor suggested or pushed him to, or her, I don't know what the if the author is a man or a woman, but pushed them to change the title to something more in line with the trends of naming light novels. They were forced to, but I know they wanted to call it Familia Myth, which is not as telling, But I think it'd be cool, and definitely with these later seasons, now that I've been, following the show and everything, and kind of know the story a little better, I do like the idea of that title much better than what it's become. Because even though yes, there tends to be a new girl every season that he meets, um, and I guess it does have some harem vibes, it's not really that kind of show. But yeah, the war arc was cool. I did quite enjoy it. Everything that went with Freya, and then just revealing her, having the seer reveal and everything, with her and Freya, and just kind of getting into that. I had honestly kind of forgotten because they spaced everything out so far, especially with the release of this season, that it just got a little bit confusing. But following along with it, it was cool, and it was not so complex that I couldn't understand what was happening at any given time. So good stuff all around there. Definitely a high B tier, I think. Just not A, because of, again, I don't know that I would recommend the show unless someone seemed like it might be a series they'd be interested in more than just like the one singular season, obviously. And then we move on to Blue Box, Ao no Hako. I'm going to make a quick decision on this one as well. S tier. This was great. Like a fantastic show. More than half is just slop. Yeah, I won't disagree. I don't think 2025 was a particularly good year for anime in general. And as someone who doesn't particularly like battle shonen, which seemed to be what the main, unless you're talking about Danmachi, in which case I disagree. But you're open. You are free to have your own opinion. But if you're talking about the shows that I watched, I don't disagree that a lot of it is slop. Because yeah, again, as someone who is S. Oh, are we talking about Blue Box? Blue Box? Yeah, I think Blue Box is an S tier. Not a particularly high S tier, but I enjoyed it a lot. I think it had a really good mix of the sports aspect as well as the romance aspect. I think there were, from what I saw at least, because I don't really follow what people are thinking about shows anymore. I used to, probably up until a year or two ago, as in like 2024, 2023 ish era. But I think it's one of the only sports shows that really meshes the romance aspect in well, or like romance show that meshes the sports aspect well. It's just equally both that kind of a show, which is rare. Maybe rare is not even the right word. I don't think I've seen another show where they actually mix those two genres together in that bit. Twitch is a bit ahead and more clear. Okay, watch on whichever one you want. But yeah, Ao no Hako, I think was yeah, I think the way that they mix the two styles of or genres of show, being romance and sports, was really good. And I didn't have a complaint when it swapped from being mostly a sports show in the first half to more of a romance drama in the second half. I saw some comments where people were a little bit, or maybe more than a little bit, upset by the tone shift, because it was like, where's all the sports stuff? But I enjoyed the romance aspect. I mean, I'm a sucker for romance shows, so uh when it switched, it just switched to something that I also enjoyed. I don't watch a ton of sports shows, but again, the switch was good, in my opinion, and I think it did everything well. I'm looking forward to. I think they announced season two. I'm not sure, but whether or not they did, if it's gonna come out, then I'm looking forward to it. I like my sport anime to be solely focused on sports, but if the Switch is good, I might try. Yeah, again, like, I'm not gonna say it's for everyone, but my S tier is mostly like a highly recommend, and I would rewatch on my own, not just to like show someone else the show itself. But yeah, yeah, it's not like your standard sort of shonen sports show, I guess is the best way to put it, because it's equally a romance show as well. That's sort of the whole premise from the very first episode, and it looks really good. I think that's another thing that is important. It has the sports level production, but also is romance. Do you have MF Ghost? No, I don't. I did not watch that. So what do I have next? 100 Girlfriends season 2. Hmm. So completely different kind of a show. Where did I put 100 Girlfriends last year? That's what I want to know. I think I put it in A tier. Wonder will that will land. Yeah. 100 Girlfriends. I think I put it in A tier. I might have even put it in S tier just because it was so, like, for me it was so funny, just the take, and I still think it's absolutely hilarious. But 100 Girlfriends. Okay, I'm gonna drop it here for now and then maybe change my mind. But yeah, I think for season one, I wouldn't be surprised if I had put that in S tier. I think the second season was also really funny. I think this the season with the hair episode where the mom's hair takes over the world. If it was, then definitely deserves to be in an A tier. I don't think season two did enough that would elevate it to S tier. The first girl they introduced, the junior high school girl, was not really interested in her, and I feel like they spent a lot more time on her character than they did with the rest of the girls, which probably isn't true if I were to go back and look at which episodes did what. But I was not very interested in her character. I feel like she was a lighter tsundere character, even though we already had the ridiculous tsundere character from the very beginning, and she was also just hungry girl. So I didn't. Uh, I mean, I know that the show is making fun of all the stereotypes of these different archetypes of characters and kind of pushing them to the max. But her being a second tsundere who's also just hungry all the time didn't really do it for me. That wasn't really a funny character to explore when we already had the crazy tsundere right from the beginning. So yeah, and then the other characters, I feel like they weren't as memorable. The new ones, there was the blonde girl, there was the super shy girl who could disappear at will. Um, I feel, oh, and the maid. Actually, the maid episode, but the maid. Maidel only got one episode dedicated to her, and then she was still just kind of a side character in the whole thing. So, uh, yeah, I think it was only those four. Maybe there was another one I'm forgetting now. But yeah, I am looking forward to a continuation of this. So you know what? I think I will leave it in A. I think it's one of the few comedy shows that can actually get me to like really laugh. So let's move on. Also, again, these are not in any order. When I uploaded all these images to Tier List Maker, it just shuffled the order of the images around, so they're not in like seasonal order or anything. Um, so yeah, City. So City, I think I fell into the trap that a lot of people fell into when City was announced. That we all kind of expected it to be kind of like Nichijou 2.0, but Nichijou outside of a school. So I guess the settings are not super different for City and Nichijou because Nichijou was not specifically about the school. I think just a lot of the characters were students at the school. Is it as funny as Nichijou? That depends. I think the humor, so the visual gags are similar because it's still Kyoani and everything. I think it's not as absurd as Nichijou was. But I think what I was trying to say before was I fell into the trap of wanting it to be Nichijou 2.0 when, despite all of the similarities in the two shows and the two manga and everything, it was never really trying to be Nichijou 2.0, if that makes sense. It was always its own sort of thing with a similar style of humor, similar gags, but it was always its own thing. And City feels a little bit more grounded, not grounded in reality, but sort of like it feels like it's not jumping from thing to thing as much. At least that's how I felt while watching it, but now when I'm thinking back on clips, it's like it was kind of all over the place in the same vein. But there were, I feel like, more overarching narratives that went through with each group of characters. Uh, and yeah, and then I think it was like episode 5 or something had a big group ending for the episode, and then for some reason, I mean, not I'm well, what am I trying to say? The end of that episode felt like the season finale for some reason, but it was only episode 5 or something. Yeah, just a lot of like similar humor style. I definitely recommend it, but I think you should temper your expectations if you're trying to view it as Nichijou Part 2 or what have you. So I think City, I'm gonna put it at a high A. I think I enjoyed it more than I did ReZero. Uh, and yeah, I think City is something that I have shown to a friend and watched a bit with him. So yeah, A tier. Uh, I would rank Nichijou a little bit higher, but again, that's just because I think I fell into the trap of thinking they were kind of the same show. Uh, Next, we have Orb. Orb, which I actually didn't watch until it had already finished airing. So I think I watched it a little bit later on in the year than when a lot of people who were watching Orb did. But that also allowed me to sort of binge through the whole show, which definitely was a lot more enjoyable than I think sitting week after week would have been. Especially after like the big can I even call it a twist? I guess the big event happens in episode 3 where the person that we're following uh has the big event, and then suddenly there's a huge tone shift for episode 4 until whenever part 3 of the show happens. And yeah, I think this is an easy one. I think Orb might even. Oh, okay, I've got to scroll up. Orb might be my anime of the year. I'd have to. We'll see as we go through this, but as it stands right now, and from what I'm remembering about the shows as a whole from this past year, I think Orb is definitely the one that I still think about a lot. It's as the Trash Taste guys put it, it's Vinland Saga, but instead of Vinland, it's Poland Saga, and I fully agree with that. But more than just that, I think there's a lot of like really strong messages within the show itself, and then uh I think it also had one of my favorite soundtracks of the year, which is a really important thing for me, obviously, as someone who talks about music primarily on my channel. uh yeah, it really pulled me into Ushio Kensuke, who was an amazing composer that I obviously knew about before I discovered him through Koi no Katachi, even though I had also previously heard him in Ping Pong, but I didn't really register the soundtrack as something that I wanted to follow along with back when I first watched Ping Pong. Although now that I've heard it again, it does have a lot of those amazing Ushio isms. But yeah, no, I think this Orb, it was probably my show of the year, and then also my maybe arguably one the soundtrack of the year. I'd have to see. Soundtracks are a little bit different from the rest of the things in here. So yeah, let's keep going. I like science, and it told the story of Galileo in its own way. Yeah. Like it was never trying to be the true story of anything. Like I think that becomes apparent in the very last episode when you see that the way that they name everything at the start, when we see the beginning of the show, it calls it P Okoku, like the P Kingdom, whereas in the very last episode they very clearly call it Poland. So I think yeah, you see how it changes when the setting changes from when it's just saying the Okoku versus the when it just says Poland straight up. Uh, yeah, so it's already like a fictional story in its own setting. And yeah, I think it was a really well put together show. So anyway, let's move on. What was this show called? I don't know. It's too small for me to read on screen. Oh, Kuroiwa Medaka something something. I dropped it. I thought maybe it would be fun. Just like a fun sort of like simple show. One of those seasonal shows that I just turn on and turn my brain off to. Don't think too much. But it was less interesting even than I was expecting it to be. This Kuroiwa Medical one. It was just kind of like your seasonal garbage. And the gimmick of the show was that the main girl was supposed to be super vain and full of herself, and the main guy was the only one who wasn't falling for her womanly wiles. And the shocking twist in that they reveal in episode one is that he actually is super interested in her, but he's training to become a monk or something, so he has to like hold back from ever reacting to any of the cute and amazing things that she does. I think I've only watched one episode. Yeah, that's about all it deserves. Cause yeah, it was like every time she would do something that he found cute, he would like do this and go or like make a an angry glare at her or something, because that was him focusing on not thinking she was cute. I don't know. I watched more of it than I think I normally would of this kind of show before dropping. I think I dropped it after 6 episodes, which I usually give shows the 3 episode thing unless I really am not gonna enjoy it. Um, but yeah, I think one of the big problems I had was that she was for what they were going for. I don't think that the main girl was vain enough to make it funny, and she was not self-reflective enough to make it feel like a good drama. So she was just kind of like stuck in the middle, being this vain character who was not vain enough to be a ridiculous interpretation of that kind of a character, but also not wise enough to reflect on what was making her uh making things not work, because they did try and make it seem like she was starting to see that the way she was going about things was stupid, but then she would just keep doing the stupid things. And so not a character or a show that I think is worth sticking around for unless you are not haven't been exposed to any of this kind of stuff. And even then, there are better things than this one. So yeah, that was a drop. uh let's move on to Dr. Stone. There were two parts of Doctor I think both parts of this season of Dr. Stone aired throughout the year. Um, and I'm just going to be ranking them as a whole because I don't think that I will be able to remember where they got up to in part one and then where it got continued on from in part two. Dr. Stone, I'm quite biased towards. I think personally, I actually enjoyed it more than ReZero. That's not me saying ReZero was worse than Doctor Stone, but again, because ReZero, the parts, it was so early on in the year that trying to recall it right now, nothing huge is coming up. I think the biggest thing was that um shoot, I shouldn't be remembering his name. He's my favorite character, the old man character in ReZero. He had one of the best acting performances in the show, in any of the shows of I think this year actually. I thought he was just fantastic. But no, I think as a whole, I feel like I enjoyed Doctor Stone a lot more, and I know that it's not everyone's cup of tea. But again, the guy who killed his wife, yes. Um, but yeah, Doctor Stone, I feel like I enjoy it because even though it is a shonen and I'm not the biggest shonen fan, it's not like a standard battle shonen, which I think is kind of the opposite reason for why people enjoy or enjoy other battle shonen shows versus and don't necessarily enjoy Dr. Stone as much, whereas I don't care about battles. I'm so sick of battle shonen at this point and power systems and all that that when I see something like Dr. Stone where they're not focusing on battling at least in the same way that a lot of other shonen shows are, I just it feels really fresh to me and I enjoy it so much more than I would for like any other kind of shonen show. So yeah, Dr. Stone as a whole. And then maybe it's just me. I think the heavily emotional parts in Dr. Stone also get me really hard. Like when we have the whole thing at the end of part 2 with Suika. I won't say what happened just in case people still haven't watched it and would like to, but yeah, the big thing that happens with Suika and when she gets to reunite with Senku at the end of part 2 of this season was it got me. It definitely got me. I won't say that I shed a tear, but I did tear up. Um and yeah, and then it's also something that I've been able to connect with my students over because there are some kids at my school who do like Dr. Stone, so I've been able to chat about it with them. Next up, we have the Tensei Oji-san, wait, Akuyaku Deijo Tensei Oji-san, old man reincarnating as a villainess. B tier. This has been pretty quick for me to put these in tiered spots, but it was a good show. I wouldn't rewatch it, but if there is a season 2, which it seemed like they were teasing, but I don't think they actually said that it's getting a season 2, but it was surprisingly funny for what seemed like it was just going to be a seasonal dumb villainous comedy. Um it really worked. I enjoyed it a lot. I think the highs were mostly at the beginning of the show, and then it slowly started to dip down in sort of like average territory. But for this kind of show to have stayed fairly entertaining by until the end of its run, I think that is already a big plus for what would normally just be seasonal slop. Because just like isekai, villainous shows are also things that I just I I've kind of started to give up on. Villainous is becoming synonymous with isekai, and a lot of them are basically isekais. It's just like female protagonist gets sucked into a game that she used to play, where instead of being the protagonist, she reincarnates as the villain of the game, and it's becoming too common of a trope that I wish Japan didn't just hop on tropes and then keep reiterating them over and over to no end. Oji-san as a girl doesn't sit right with me. I'll give it a try. I mean that's the gimmick. The gimmick is that it's instead of like, you know, your normal whatever otaku girl reincarnates as a high class villainous lady. This time it's just an old man. But they play it really well because one of the things that they do is when he reincarnates, it's he thinks like an old man, or like she, I guess, as that character, she still thinks sort of like in her old man sense, but everything she says and does is automatically translated into this rich ojo-san lady like language and mannerisms, so it doesn't come across as weird and creepy. And then he's also, because he's an oji-san, he's like, I guess you can see in the picture, he looks kind of like your classic ugly bastard type of character. As long as it's not Mushoku Tensei shit, I'm okay. Okay, well, it's not. For in that sense, it is very much not. He looks like an ugly bastard, but he still exists in the real world. That is one of the things. He still exists in the real world, but he's like in a coma or something, and he has a wife and a daughter. So it's not like that at all. It's mostly a comedy, and there is that slight mystery aspect as we get into it. But yeah, uh, that is what I'll say about that. Definitely worth a watch. I don't know that I would rewatch it, but again, if there is a season 2, I will gladly look forward to watching it. Um, My Happy Romance season 2 is our next one. I what happened in season 2? It was like she went to the military base and made that friend who ended up being a traitor or like trying to betray her, and I can't remember what the reason for it was. Overall, season 2 was not as good as season 1, I think. Do I want to say? I think I think this one might it's sitting here. I don't think My Happy Marriage is bad at all. It looks beautiful, and then an Evan Call score, you're never gonna go wrong with. And I think it's an interesting take on like a shoujo romance because there is a lot of like magic power systems and stuff. And I know I talked about how I don't care about power systems, but I think it's the way it's portrayed in this where it's not like trying to explain the whole power system. Is like these people can use magic and they do in some ways, but not everyone can, and that's about as far as it goes. Uh but yeah, yeah, I think I'll put it in low A for now and then maybe adjust that as we go along. I think season 1 I think was a lot more memorable because it delved into her traumas a lot more, which was definitely one of the strong points of the show was showing just how the trauma of having an abusive home could really, really mess someone up, and then having just someone who genuinely wants to support her, but isn't like also has his own issues going on where he has trouble expressing himself, and so he has trouble expressing the ways that he wants to support her, and she doesn't feel like she's worthy of his support and all those things. And just seeing how they kind of like healthily navigated that, I think, was a lot better presented in season 1, whereas season 2 they did try and do that a little bit again when she met his family. But I feel like we had already kind of seen how they had grown and moved through some of the issues before, and then it almost felt like they were trying to rehash or re uh bring some of her traumas back to the surface with his mom being very weird towards her. And I don't think it hit as hard. It was definitely still good though. So yeah, definitely deserves to be around this area, high or low A, high B territory. So yeah, I'll leave it there for now. Um Flower and Asura, Hana wa Gotoku, was that what it was called? Hana wa Gotoku Shirano. No, I'm messing up the title of this. Either way, Flower and Asura. Very, very cool concept, this one. I didn't know anything about broadcasting clubs in Japan other than the fact that, they do the announcements, they learn how to run the sound systems and PA and do everything in a school because at least where I am, junior high schools don't have proper broadcasting clubs. They just have broadcast committees who make like announcements at lunchtime and at the beginning of the day and things like that. But I didn't realize that when they get to high school that they're actual like reading competitions and things of that nature. So like narration and things like that. I thought it was really cool. It's sort of like an adjacent industry to voice acting and things like that. So very, very interesting way of looking at it. And then also exploring the fact that they are kind of just like a multimedia club as well because they would be filming things, and then you've got the one guy who isn't interested in doing narration or broadcasting itself. He's more interested in the sound side of things, both composition and sound effects, and engineering and everything. So I thought that was a really cool look at it. The story was okay. It was a little bit messy, I will say, especially towards the end when all the drama happening with the senpai character, the blonde girl. Um, I think that was a little bit forced. Uh, at least in terms of how intense they made it. Just because I think I get what they were going for with the drama of it all, like the family drama and stuff like that. And I do think it was important to include something like that, but I also uh it it was a little much for this type of a show. So I think am I being too easy if I put it in A? Uh, I think I enjoyed it more. You know what? I'm gonna put it in low A, and then we're gonna move this down to high B actually. And again, might move some things around because I think I enjoyed Flower and Ashida more than I did season two of My Happy Marriage. Uh, and also my favorite, I think one of my favorite songs of the year came out of this in the ending. As well as like City's opening was my favorite opening, and then this one's ending was my favorite ending. In terms of the song, the actual animation, I'd have to go back and rewatch all the endings. But I did those. I covered that in the streams from the past two streams that I did yesterday and the day before. So let us move on to Zenshu and Zenshu. Uh, I think I only really picked it up because it was a Mappa show and it looked really good. And then it started. I watched the first 3 or 4 episodes and couldn't keep going because I thought it was boring. So it almost ended up as a dropped show. But then I came back to it long after the season had ended and gave it another shot. And it ended up being better than I expected it to, but still not very good. Uh, I think it's better than Turkey, but still not really worth anything. It's not one of Mappa's better shows, and I had quite a few complaints about it. I don't think it was F tier. It was still maybe it was doesn't wasn't for me, and I think there is an audience for it, but uh, I think one of the things that I was most bothered by, which was probably very nitpicky, was when I would see comments from people being like, wow, all the character designs are so amazing in this show, and the main character is my favorite design in the show. She spent more than half the show with nonsensical hair covering her entire face, and then the only time you got to see her face was when she tied it up to do her drawing stuff, and then most of the time it would just be covering everything. So I don't understand how that's good design. Like, sure, she had pretty eyes, like she had a pretty face, I guess. But yeah, no, the story was also not very good. I think it was trying to capture some kind of nostalgia or something from an age gone by, and it failed to do that pretty spectacularly. So let's move on to Zutoboro Reijo. Title is too long. Betrothed to my sister's ex, which is a dumb sounding English title for what was actually another good exploration of, I think, trauma, family trauma, in the same vein that My Happy Marriage did it. But I think this one captured a different side to it where I think the characters were similar. But I think as far as season two of My Happy Marriage goes, I think I enjoyed this as much as I enjoyed season one of My Happy Marriage. And this was a fairly good. You know what? Let's put it high B instead of low A. But this was one of the should I say better shoujo shows from this year, which is kind of showing the abysmal state of shoujo from as of recent, because I don't think it was a fantastic show or anything, but I enjoyed it quite a bit. I did like the romance between these two leads, um, and I think it did explore her trauma quite well. It was again similar to how they explore Mio's in My Happy Marriage. Mari's is also pretty well explored, and then it also showed a lot of sides of how the trauma can resurface in different ways and in different forms, and why it would resurface, what sort of triggers there were, and just exploring the ways that she would react to things that would that like a normal well-adjusted person would not, because that they wouldn't have had to go through any of what she did. And I think it really captured that sense of her character very well. uh I do think it was story wise it was it was a fine story. It was whatever, but I do think they could have done a little more with the story. But I doubt this is going to get a continuation at any point. If it does, I will I will watch it because I did enjoy that one quite a bit. But yeah, let's leave it at that for that thought. Chainsaw Man, easy. I think that goes without saying that Chainsaw Man was very, very good. And again, as I've mentioned, not the hugest Battle Shonen fan, but I think, and even wasn't the hugest Chainsaw Man series fan. Is this the movie or season two? It's the movie because season two hasn't come out yet. Um, yeah. So the movie, that's an easy S tier. It looked amazing. It sounded amazing. Uh, I kind of want to talk about the soundtrack at some point actually, but we'll see when that can happen. But look at that right here with Orb and then with Chainsaw Man, two Ushio Kensuke soundtracks right next to each other in S tier. But no, I think the movie is self-explanatory for how good it is. If you have seen it, you would probably know. I think it told an amazing, well-packaged story for an entire arc in one movie, and just the way that they were able to portray the story of it all, to showcase the feelings of the characters involved, and then also have the high intensity action scenes and everything that went along with it, and all without necessarily getting super into who Reze was as a character, and still being able to capture a lot of her essence without like just full on explaining everything until the very end of the movie, where we have the guy who kind of info dumps a little bit as to who she is when they're cleaning up after Makima, we should say. Yeah, I won't go too much into it because I feel like every person in existence, at least in the anime world and even outside the anime world, to a certain extent, has seen Chainsaw Man movie. So if you know, you know. It deserves to be in an S tier. What is this? My engaged to I forget the title, but it was like engaged to someone who hates me or something, or I hate the one I'm engaged to. I dropped it. I don't even think I got through the whole first episode, and if I did, I did not get to episode 2 of that show. Um just a dumb gimmick that you could clearly see was just tsundere bait, and I am not the hugest fan of tsundere. So, yeah, I'll leave it at that. Okitsura, the Okinawa. I can't understand the girl I like because she speaks too strongly in Okinawa Ben. I'm getting all of these English titles wrong because I don't know what they are. Um, this one, I think this is a B. This is a B. Uh, I actually remember this one more than season 2 of My Happy Marriage. So again, these are my biased takes. You can disagree. I don't mind. But yeah, this one, I actually enjoyed a lot more than I thought I would. I thought it would just be another sort of not seasonal slop, but just one of those average seasonal shows that I wouldn't think about after it finished airing. And to be fair, I don't really think about it too much, but it oddly enough had one of the better romances of this year through not even the main quote unquote love interest, but through the blonde girl on the right in the picture. She Kanna was she was yeah, I mean it was kind of like they had this weird love triangle with the girl in the front with the backwards cap on, and her and the blonde girl who was just kind of the friend that would translate all of the Okinawa dialect to the main character Tokyo Boy. And she like he was interested in the Okinawa dialect girl who didn't seem to have any feelings towards anyone in a romantic sense, and then blonde girl was interested in him. Uh, but and like her interactions were all super cute. But then by the end of the show, it actually seemed like he, unlike 90% of these kinds of rom-com shows, he actually started to pick up on the fact that not only was she interested in him, but that he might actually have real feelings for her, whereas his feelings for Hina were a lot more superficial and just based on the initial impression that he had from her. So I actually really enjoyed that. This is definitely not getting a season two. It's not that kind of a show. But I have thought about picking up the manga because aside from just having a cute story, it also was pretty educational for at least someone who studies Japanese and lives in Japan. Quite educational as something that I wouldn't mind learning more of, just knowing a little bit more about Okinawan culture and Okinawa Ben, because yeah, I think that'd be cool to know. Not that it's much of a language many people outside of the elderly in Okinawa speak anymore, but they did also address that in the show a bit. So I think worth checking out if you're interested in the cultural side of not Japan but Okinawa itself. Okay, let's move on. Sakamoto Days. Sakamoto Days started out fun and interesting, and by the end of it, I was kind of bored because again, shonen is not really my thing. I didn't even watch season two, to be honest. I heard season two fell off. Yeah, by the end of season one, I was kind of I kind of got bored. It started to feel like it was turning into a standard battle shonen, but just with uh a comedic side to it, which I think I appreciated it in the beginning, but then as it went along, it was trying to be a little bit more serious, introduce a lot more characters, and take the story, bring the plot of it into all of it more. Whereas I can understand why it didn't just remain as like a gag show, based around what they were doing. But I think I honestly would have liked it if had taken more of like a almost like a Spy Family approach. Not that I watched the most recent season of Spy Family either, but that was more just me forgetting to start it and then being too far behind to want to do it until it was finished. So I might watch that sometime soon. But yeah, Sakamoto Days, it was okay. It's okay. I won't say any more than that. I enjoyed the premise and I like what they were trying to do with it, but I think that it started to fall into generic territory. And then, yes, I did also hear that season two was not great. I will say, though, that a lot of people initially were complaining that the animation was really bad. And when I go back and rewatch scenes, I do notice that and think, like, oh, yeah, this is pretty. Like, they have some quick frames of things happening, but it's just like on loop. And I think I didn't notice it while I was watching the show. So I don't think it's the worst animation. And now that we also have One Punch Man season three, which I didn't watch, but I've seen enough clips to know. I think Sakamoto Days gets a pass at least for some of its earlier battle scenes. Again, I didn't watch season two, so I don't know how that holds up. Don't remind me of One Punch Man. Dude, I haven't even watched season two of One Punch Man because I heard it fell off when JC Staff took over, which I don't want to blame on JC Staff because I have a soft spot in my heart for them because they made a lot of goated shows back in the day, but definitely they also made a lot of slop back in the day. So I wasn't particularly thrilled to hear that it went from Madhouse to them, and it seems that that has kept up, to say the least. But let's move on. So the next one, they destroyed the franchise. Yes, that's what I've heard. Um, let's move on. So Apothecary Diaries season two. So unlike season one, which I didn't watch while it was airing and was able to binge all of, season two I actually had to watch weekly. I mean, had to. I did watch weekly because I didn't want to wait until it was all done. In hindsight, I probably should have waited until it was all done because, and then binged it again because I feel like, uh, I feel like when I watch these shows seasonally, because I watch quite a fair amount, despite how much I've tried to cut down over the years, just because there are so many shows airing more and more every year. It gets harder and harder. I still think this was an S tier. Would I put it above Blue Box? Slightly, yes, actually, I would. Um, Apothecary Diaries is like a amazing show, just really great. And season two, what was the main draw of season two? It was everything with oh shoot, I forgot her name, but I loved her character. The one who was like she was the other helper girl, or she was supposed to be the other helper girl until um things happened. I don't want to spoil too much about what happens in season two because it is it is a show that I genuinely think people should watch. And it has a lot of there are a lot of good mystery aspects. There's a lot of good just storytelling in general, I think. Like there's a lot of really interesting stories that they tell in Apothecary Diaries, and a lot of they have really interesting ways of tying what seem like mundane things. Like they'll have an episode that seems almost like a filler, or where it's just trying to introduce some simple concepts to not even necessarily uh try and tell a story, but just to introduce you to a thing that is relevant to the setting of the inner palace that they're living in. So when they did like the ghost stories thing, that just seemed like it was going to be a silly gag that they did, and then they were like, "Oh, but this lady was actually trying to steal your souls," and it's like, "Oh, okay, so we're getting into some spirituality and things like that." So there's like the slight bit of supernatural magical elements that are being introduced into the show. But other than sort of tying it into the setting and giving us a better understanding of the world that we're viewing, it didn't feel like anything at the time. But then as the story goes on, they actually tie that scene specifically and like the idea of it all back into the mystery of what's going on with a lot of the drama aspects and like the thriller aspects of sort of like Mao Mao being in this other place as all of these political moves are happening. I know I'm being very vague with this, but again, I really think people should watch this show. So I don't want to say too much that might spoil things, and I feel like there are things that are gonna be spoiled if I get into it. But yeah, I really like the way that they tie things into each other uh without being too obvious about how they're gonna tie in initially. Because if I were to go back and watch it now, I feel like it'd be really obvious how things are gonna play out because now I know, in hindsight, these things are obvious, but at the time you have no idea, and so it just has a lot of cool storytelling aspects to it. So let's get to the next one. The Licorice Recoil Shorts show. I'm gonna put that in A. Where should I put that in A? I'm putting it above 100 Girlfriends, not because I necessarily. I mean, I do think as a whole, Nico Nico is a better show than I think. As a whole, I would actually put Nico Nico either high A or low S. But because this is just the shorts show that we're talking about, it is just a slice of life shorts thing. But it's cute, and I really like that it shows off a lot of the more daily aspects of what these girls are going through in a condensed time format, because it didn't need to be like full episodes of slice of life things about these girls. And it reminded me of how much I love and miss um not Utica. Shoot, I'm forgetting names of everyone now. The singer, the oh wait, maybe it was Utica. Yeah, Utica, who was the ending theme for the show, and rip rip to her. I found out quite late, like many months after she had passed away, that had happened, and I was very depressed that day because I have loved all of the music I've heard from her. And so I'm really glad that they actually reused the ending theme, even if it was mostly just the instrumental for most episodes. But then at the end, when they played the whole thing again, good vibes. Uh, so yeah, good stuff there, Nico Nico. Next we have Shangri-La Frontier Season 2. Season 2, I didn't enjoy as much as Season 1. Mainly because I really love the whole arc with the Tomb Keeper boss that they were trying to fight. I do still really love the way that they implement game mechanics and stuff. And as someone who is not really a gamer, especially not the type of gamer that these guys are, I felt it kept dragging. Yeah, I think more so for this season than the previous because uh it felt like it wanted to tell multiple stories at once, and it was, instead of like focusing on one and doing that, it was trying to tell all of them at the same time. So season 2, I really wanted to see them just get to training and figuring out how they were going to beat the Leviathan style boss, and face off against his thing. Even if they didn't get to it, I wouldn't have minded if it was just like trying to strategize and figure out. But it felt more like as they were getting into that, it was like suddenly, oh, we want you to play in this fighting game tournament. And suddenly we're not in the world of Shangri-La Frontier anymore. We're in a different thing. And then was it also at the beginning of the season where they were fighting in the other game that the main dude used to play in, and then trying to, yeah, it was because they had to convince the other people to come into Shangri-La Frontier so he could, yeah, the robot fighting, yeah. Yeah, just a lot of like weird arcs and storytelling that ultimately, yes, do all sort of tie together loosely, but feel a little bit unnecessary. I'd rather that they would have just stuck to the main Shangri-La Frontier aspect of the thing and then not tried to go off in all these other directions to show off different games. I do understand why, especially from the story the storyteller's perspective. They want to show off different aspects of different games and things, and the different mechanics that work in everything. But yeah, it felt like it was trying to prolong the story when it could have just probably told the same thing in 12, 12 episodes. I do appreciate that it got that Shangri-La Frontier has been getting 2 cores though, and I think uh, the production of it has been quite good throughout, pretty consistent throughout. So let's put this in a high B. I think season 1 I would put somewhere in A, but this one yeah, I think it's not. We'll see how things go as we go along. I don't think it's necessarily the highest of B's, but compared to these other things, I think it's higher than those. So next, Uma Musume, Cinderella Gray. Personal bias. Looks amazing, sounds amazing, is probably the hypest sports anime. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna put it above Chainsaw Man. Again, personal bias. Uh, I I fell out of Uma Musume for a bit, if I'm being honest. I really liked season 1, and I have only heard recently that apparently people didn't really like season 1, which is surprising to me because season 1 how told quite a grounded story, and I felt like it focused. They chose Special Week to focus on, and they stuck to her story. So we got all her backstory. I've only watched season 1. Um, well, let me know what you think. Are you one of the haters of season 1? But or are we? Unless you're talking about Cinderella Gray. No, well, yeah, no. So the yeah, no. So what I enjoyed about it, people hate, yeah, well, I don't know if hate might be a strong word, but I have seen like a lot of people say that compared to like season 2 and season 3, season 1 was pretty weak. And in fairness, season 1 was before Cygames took over as their of took it over as their own thing. Like they were obviously the original creators, but there were all the game production delays and things that were happening. So PA Works was the ones who did the anime, which whatever. I That means nothing. It just didn't look as insanely good as it does these later seasons have looked. But no, I really liked season 1 because it focused in on Special Week's story and didn't drift away from that. It was always about Special Week and how she wants to she looks to Silent Suzuka as a rival, but also wants to be her friend, and looks to her as someone to look up to. So when the whole story is going through with just that sort of premise in mind, and then keeping in mind all of Special Week's backstory, it felt like a very nice emotional journey from start to finish. Whereas I felt like season 2, they tried to split it too much between Tokai Teo and Mejiro McQueen, and then right as we were sort of getting into the meat of it, Tokai gets injured, so now we're focusing on McQueen, and then they suddenly introduce Rice Shower into the mix, whose story I enjoyed way more than McQueen's or Teo's, and it just felt like they were trying to focus on too many stories all at the same time and didn't really get it. But apparently, people love season two, and I didn't really get that. Season three, I didn't really care about the characters in season three, so maybe the story was fine, but I feel like they did kind of a similar thing in that one. Um, and then there's the movies, which I've only seen the first one of, so I won't talk about that. But Cinderella Grey really brought it back to what I loved about season one, which is like, here is one horse girl. We're going to focus on this one horse girl. We're going to give her, we're going to go into her backstory so you know why you should root for her, which season three did not do, and season two also didn't really do. But here's this one horse girl. We really want you to know everything about her, why you should root for her, and make you feel like you want to root for her because it's so hype. And everything that went from like start to finish, I felt like I was really invested in her story. And even when it did start to jump away to other characters, like focusing on like Tamamo Cross for a little bit, for a few episodes, or like the when they had the World Series and like all the horse girls from the other places came in, uh and they gave some emphasis to obey your master and stuff like that. I never felt like we were ignoring Oguri Cap. Even when she wasn't the focus of an episode, it always felt like she was present in the story, even when we were focusing on other characters. So I really liked the way that they did that. And then also Cygames, it makes it look just incredible. Just some of the best animation I've seen in anything. And then we also got to see my girls Gold Chip, or not Gold Chip, well also Gold Chip, but Gold City and Super Creek, which was cool to see them in the anime, even if only briefly. Next we have Zatsutabi, That's Journey. Zatsutabi was high C. Yeah, not high C, just higher C than these other two. Um, I went in expecting a cool show to show off cool things in Japan that I didn't know about and to show how this mangaka was using these things to inspire her manga, and it's all based apparently on an actual mangaka's travels, and the way that she sort of based some of her stories. I don't remember which mangaka, but yeah. So I was expecting to see a lot of cool stuff, and I feel like everything it showed in the show were not things that I was particularly interested in. Maybe that's just me, and people found some cool things to learn from the show, but maybe just as someone who lives in Japan, uh, and likes and would rather see some like interesting things than just the sort of the mundane tourist traps. I'm not saying like they're the sort of like huge explosive tourist traps like Kyoto and Gion and areas of Tokyo and all that, but what they showed off in this show was just not particularly appealing for me. Maybe it's because I'm not the hugest history buff and they kept going to historic spots, but I don't know. It was fine, but I wouldn't watch it again and I wouldn't necessarily recommend it unless you want to explore maybe lesser known spots in Japan. But yeah, let's move on to Once Upon a Witch's Death. Arumajo ga shinu made. This was a ooh tough. It had some really high highs, but also I hated the comedy in this show. I don't think I laughed a single time, and they tried so hard to make Meg, the main character, they tried so hard to make her funny, and I did not laugh a single time watching this show. I did like the dramatic aspects of it though. Like I liked when mostly when they were just exploring how she could make uh, the people that she was interacting with, how she could make them happy so that they would cry a tear of joy that she could use towards uh, putting off the curse placed on her. I did really think that they were smart about the way that they handled that, but I don't think that it was funny ever, and they kept trying to play off the the fact that she's probably gonna die in a year as like this silly gag that she was just trying to stay positive about. And they did even explain that she was just trying to stay positive, and that's why she was doing the gags, but it never felt good. It was kind of dumb. Okay, how many more shows have we got? A lot. And I do kind of want to wrap this up by uh within the next hour or so. So let's try and get through these a little quicker. Aharen-san, season 2. I don't really remember why I started watching Aharen. And season 1 wasn't even that good. It was just fine. It was like a normal seasonal show. So when season 2 came around, I was kind of confused, but then I was more confused at myself for why I was watching it, and it was just like whatever. Not bad. I know that the C makes it seem like it's bad, but it did have a nice conclusion, but I didn't really care about the characters enough for it to matter. So yeah. If you like slice of life and weird comedy, like the comedy is so weird in the show. That's the only way I can put it. It's not bad, it's just weird. Sometimes it made me laugh and sometimes it was just like a what the fuck moment. But yeah. So next, Shinji K. I don't think that needs much of an explanation. It is Rent a Girlfriend but worse. Same creator, incest coded, and as trashy as I thought it was gonna be, it exceeded my expectations in the levels of trash that it delved into. Uh, does the author insert himself too? I don't think so because the main character is actually kind of a Chad, except that for whatever reason everyone thinks he's a loser because he's not charismatic. Like he's kind of awkward. His character is kind of awkward, but he's like a gym bro, just an awkward, shy gym bro. So I I don't really think that that's him inserting himself. And I mean, I don't know. It was weird. It was like we have all these archetypes for sisters that at this point only three of them I think have admitted their love for the main character, and then the oldest sister is clearly has some kind of feelings, but she's tied down by her familial obligations as the oldest, even though the main dude is the oldest son, so he's the one who apparently adopts all of that, the family pressures. And then they have one other male character who's his brother, but they immediately write him off because they're like, oh, he has a girlfriend, so he's not in the equation. And then the glasses girl, which I feel like she doesn't have any appeal to him as a character, so it's gonna be weird how they try to tie her into the harem, but I don't care. I don't want to watch any more of it. Uh, it took me this long to finally stop watching Rent a Girlfriend as well, so yeah. Let's leave that at that. Yofukashi no Uta Season 2 S tier. Season 1 I was just like in it, like it was fine. It was good, but I wasn't like super hyped about it or anything. I love the aesthetic of the show a lot in season 1, and they kept it up in season 2. But I think what I loved the most about season 1 was the aesthetic of it. Season 2 really brought the story to the forefront, and I thought they did like a really good job of showing off the story of like the vampire hunter girl. And ooh, would I put this above Blue Box? Maybe, yeah, I think a little bit. It's above Blue Box. Yeah. Um yeah, I think that it was like a really well told story, showing off why the vampire hunter girl was hunting the vampires, and not even necessarily, but also why she wasn't actually killing them, uh, because that was always like a weird thing. It was like she touts herself as this dangerous huntress who's like taking down the all the vampires, and they're all on the lookout for her, but she was never actually killing them. So it was a weird thing that they delve into the reveals of, and then it gets really heavy, uh, and I think they really managed to tell that story well, and then also exploring Nazuna's character, uh, because she has no memories, and then almost like just flat out saying the reveal without making it all dramatic either. That was quite quite interesting, I think. So yeah, that was that. Rock wa Lady no Tashinami deshite. I didn't really like this show, I'm gonna be honest. I liked it more than Turkey. Did I like it? Yeah, I liked it more than Turkey, and it was probably about the same as Zenshu. Uh, I thought the premise would be make it more appealing than it ultimately ended up doing. Because more than them being these crazy rock metal girls doing these crazy things as ojo-samas in Japan, I was more distracted by the fact that they are like European, uh, Middle Ages European style ojo-samas living in Japan the way that they do. That was just very weird to me. And I know it's a character archetype, but when all the characters are that character archetype, it starts to feel very weird, and I couldn't like immerse myself in it. Uh, it had some good music. I will say that I really liked the opening and the ending. Oh, Little Glee Monster always killing it, and Bandmate as well. But I think, uh, yeah, the show itself was just like, yeah. Do I need a D? I don't need a D tier. I'll just put things at the bottom of C. Let's see. I don't even remember what this one was called, but it was a drop. I watched the first three episodes when they did uh the initial 3 episode drop, and it seemed like, as dumb as it was, it had like the cyborg maid and stuff who ended up taking over while he was in deep sleep, taking over the kingdom and turning it into something that was good because he inherited it from his shitty parents or something. And it was an isekai. Oh no, I remember why I started watching it, because it was an isekai, but it was like the dude was like he got cheated on by his wife cheated on him with his boss, who was like being an abusive boss at work. But he like the dad was always kind of like, oh well, as long as I have a loving wife and daughter to go home to, I can endure anything. I can endure the torture of going to work every day, because I know that at the end of the day, there's someone there who is going to love me. And then they NTR him, and they're like, oh, not only is she cheating, his wife cheating on him, she's cheating on him with his boss, so that the boss can blackmail him and get him fired, which like all this like crazy stuff. And then even his daughter had been spending time with the boss and acknowledged him as her other dad or something, and it got really weird. And then he just dies in poverty because he loses his job and stuff. And I was like, shit, well, this sets itself up for like a pretty good revenge story, or at least some kind of like uh kind of personality overhaul for when he gets to the new world. And then it just kind of felt dumb and gimmicky once he got to that new world, because we never explored any of his character, at least within those first 2 episodes that I watched. And yeah, it was just like, I hate everyone, so I'm gonna kill everyone who is in a place of authority. So yeah, just a dumb kind of like power fantasy villain style show. Uh and can a boy girl friendship survive? I think I got as far as the majority of people who started this show did, to the point where what's her name? Himari, blue hair girl, throws the water on him. Uh and that was toxic enough for me. I didn't need to see the levels of toxicity that I have heard it got to beyond that. Uh, so yeah, that one. I'm kind of glad I didn't watch it, although I am curious to see just how bad it gets based on what I've heard. Summer Pockets. Summer Pockets. I have weird feelings about Summer Pockets. Is it some parts were quite good, but a lot of it was kind of slop coated. Let's put this here. B. And that is, you know what? I'm gonna move these down actually. Do I want to move this one down? I did enjoy it quite a bit. I'll leave that one there. Sakamoto Days can be a C. Yeah. Summer Pockets. I think there were the highs that I enjoyed. I really like the first girls arc, the one who ends up not. Wait, what even was the story of her? I can't remember. She was like, she had like her like phantom or spirit, some weird. It's a key story, so there's weird magical supernatural elements. Her like younger spirit had like was still existing on the island that he was spending his summer at, and that was their arc. I did kind of like that they did each arc as their own separate arcs, kind of the way that like Amagami SS did back in the day, and then they explained how each arc was happening separate from the other ones. So because like usually these kinds of stories would coincide with each other. So how can he be romancing one girl when he's romancing this one at the same time? And it wasn't doing a school days thing. So yeah, I did kind of like that the story does actually explain how all of these arcs are happening. And then the second half of the show went on a bit long. I liked the story that they were trying to tell, but I feel like they threw in a a couple of curveballs that made it reset to the start again, and it was like, ooh, can we just like get to the end of the story, because it feels like you're trying to prolong it for not a good enough reason. But I think it did have some good aspects to it. I just didn't enjoy every aspect, and the ones that I didn't, they felt not great. So yeah, we'll put it in. It's like low middling B, I guess. Next is Mono, which I didn't watch until it was also far far after it finished airing. So I actually watched this fairly recently. Um, Unicamp Light, trying to bank on the popularity of Unicamp, and ultimately I don't think it did that good of a job of it. Did I like it more than Tensei Oji-san though? It was cute and it had some good music and it had fun moments, but I think I was mostly just on my phone most of the time while I put it on. It was background noise. I did like it more than Sakamoto Days in hindsight, and I did go out of my way to watch it. So Mono is fun, but I think they kind of lost the idea of what they were trying to accomplish with the beginning of the show. It felt like there was a story in the beginning, then they forgot about the story, and then at the very end they were like, "Oh yeah, we are supposed to be a photo and video club. That's right." Yeah. So I'll leave it there. The summer Hikaru died. This one I will put in a. So this is another biased thing. This show was really good, but it was not for me. Uh, the summer Hikaru died, and I'm debating whether I want to watch season 2 or not, just because I I don't know what it was about the story. I feel like maybe I just don't really care about horror that much. Is there oh yeah, they've announced season 2. I'm pretty sure they announced it right after season 1 ended. Um but yeah, season 1, at least I don't know. There was just something about it, cuz I could recognize just how good the show was, and like my friend who read the manga, he actually, you know what, that's a different topic. I'll get to that maybe in a bit. But yeah, no, I had heard about it running going into the show, so I kind of had a rough idea of what the show was about, and it looked beautiful. It sounded amazing. it was genuinely kind of freaky too, as far as horror anime goes, which usually are not, but this one actually was a bit of like ooh, I don't like that. Like I didn't like the coup lady in the forest. Yeah, no, it was like I recognize like every aspect of it was like really really good, but something about it, I guess I don't know, I didn't feel like I connected a lot with it. I didn't really like it. I don't know. There was something that I didn't really care for. Didn't connect to the story. Yeah. Like I really like the characters and everything, and I like their relationship. My friend who reads the manga was saying that they made it a lot more gay than it is in the manga, and this is coming from a gay friend, so I don't think he has a problem with that, but I didn't even really notice that. I just thought they were. I could feel the gay tension there, and I have no issue with that. Uh, but I'm surprised that it was so much stronger in the show than it was in the manga. They made it into Stranger Things. So weird admission, I have never watched any of Stranger Things. Um, and now that is it over now or is it still in the last few episodes? Maybe I'll pick it up once it's done. And if it is done, well then I will probably it's over. Okay. Well, it's probably going to be one of those shows that I say I will watch eventually and then probably never do. Just like Breaking Bad, another show that I will watch eventually. Just watch only 2 seasons. I have heard it gets not great after the first few, but I have other friends who advocate for the entirety of it. So we'll see when I definitely get to it. Uh yeah, we'll see how it goes. Anyway, let's move on with this list. Next we have Apocalypse Hotel, which hmm, Apocalypse Hotel. Where would I think it's going to go somewhere in B. But then it did also have my absolute favorite episode of anime of the year, which was episode 11, where Yachio. This is surprisingly better. Yeah, no. It was. I mean, I had no expectations going into the show, so I can't even say that it was better than expected. Um, I will say I absolutely hated the opening song. The opening dance sequence was cool, but the opening song itself, like I know some people were saying like, "Oh, you get used to the way that she sings or like the way it sounds." And I was like, "She's just singing out of tune." And it doesn't sound like it's an intentional out of tune singing. Uh different argument. The show itself was pretty good and I did enjoy it. Uh I don't think I enjoyed it as much as other people seem to. It seems to have garnered quite a cult following. Uh, for me, it was just like an enjoyable show to watch while it was airing, and I probably won't think about it too much beyond that. But also, episode 11, like coming off the heels of episode 10, which I thought was so dumb, and I can't even remember what happened in it, but it was. Okay, I've watched 9 episodes. Okay, well, the next episode is in my opinion, the worst episode of the series, and then the following episode is the best episode of any anime of the year. So, uh, take with that what you will. Um, episode 11 also made like what was it, the New York Times best TV episodes list. Uh, I don't really know much about that. Like someone in my Discord just shared that with me, and I clicked on it to see what was there. But kind of surprising. But also that episode, episode 11, so good. It's just like there's almost no dialogue except for the very beginning and very end of the episode, and it's just Yachio walking through Tokyo. I'm thinking, is that the episodes of The Humans Return or something? No, it's just it's like Yachio takes a break. Basically, they're like, you need to take a break. You can't just work constantly all the time. So she just takes a walk through Tokyo and explores the post-apocalyptic city. Basically, there's no dialogue. Once she leaves the hotel, and it doesn't return until she goes back. So just like very very cool episode. Some of the best stills. And yeah, just like one of the most beautiful looking, as well as like an amazing amount of writing done with no dialogue, and I think it was just so well executed. So with that in mind, I think that alone deserves to bring it up to a high B. Probably the high, yeah, we'll put it in the highest of Bs. Because I definitely enjoyed the show, but I don't think it was, for me personally, it wasn't as amazing as the cult following it garnered seems to be pushing it as online. Next, meet me at the baseball park. Meet me at the ballpark. Boulderpark, I'm a show or something. I don't know. This was a just a basic seasonal show. It was fun to turn on. Uh, I liked it better than Sakamoto Days. Not much to say about it. Just a gyaru working at a baseball park, and yeah, that's about it. There's not much to it. Um, Ruri Rocks Ruri no Hoseki was this was like probably my biggest one of my biggest surprises of the year for how good it ended up being. Because like, yes, it was a little bit fan servicey with Nagi, but aside from like Nagi's design, uh this show was like so beautiful to look at. Like, holy crap. Studio Bind proving again why they are being one of the high quality studios of recent years. I know uh not everyone is a huge fan of Mushoku Tensei, but I think it'd be hard to argue that Mushoku Tensei's animation and art don't look really good. And Ruri no Hoseki being like, I think their latest project as of right now, uh yeah, it also looked, and so it looked amazing, it sounded amazing, like it had a really nice soundtrack. The two of the composers from the Atelier game series, um and amazing opening, amazing ending. Yeah, I'd put it in an A. I think it's comfortably at an A. It was like a really big surprise because I thought it was just gonna be your kind of run of the mill, uh, slice of life, cute girls doing cute things show, and then it actually did delve into, uh, not like super deep topics, but trying to explore Nuri and Seto, who are the two high school characters. They were both trying to figure out what they want to do with their lives and like really exploring why mineralogy is something that they would both want to pursue as actual careers in the future. Uh, both with Seto's her past of being sort of like ridiculed for being interested in rocks beyond just like thinking they're pretty, and then also Nuri not really understanding why she's so interested other than the fact that she just thinks jewels and gems are pretty or whatever. So uh a really interesting look at sort of like what should have, or not should have, but could have just been like, your standard run of the mill cute girls do cute things show. And to follow that up, we have another cute girls doing cute things show that was I think the dark horse of its season. And I also enjoyed quite a lot. I'll put it, this is my list. I'm going to put it above ReZero. But yeah, Food for the Soul. Food for the Soul was also just another cute girls do cute things show where they make a food club at their university, and you never go into this kind of show expecting much, but something about it was always like every episode was really cozy, and I will admit that a lot of times when I'm watching these kinds of slice of life shows that I do really like, but a lot of times I'll just like pull up my phone and start like, I don't know, looking at something else or like playing a game or something. But for this one, I actually, every time I would pull up my phone, I would see like what was happening on screen and then just put my phone back down. And I'm pretty sure I watched every episode from start to finish, which is really rare for this kind of show. I don't know what about it drew me in so much, but it was really fun, and I really liked the way it looked. The color palette was nice, the sounds were nice. It had good music. I haven't found the soundtrack anywhere, but I think it's out there now. Uh, amazing, amazing opening, and even more amazing ending. The ending song, "Miso Soup and Butter." I came out like way before the show did, so I became familiar with the song just as a J-pop song way before it became the ending song for this show. So my surprise when it came on in episode 2 or 3 was just like, what the hell is happening? One of my favorite songs as of late is also now an anime song. What is happening? And yeah, just a really enjoyable one. I think you can see my biases towards slice of life are showing, but I don't care. This is my list. So next we have the second season of Don which I'll be honest didn't really feel like a second season because it just goes straight off the heels of season 1, so it's more like a continuation. But where did I put season 1 last year? I don't remember. And how much did I actually like season 2? I did like it quite a bit. I think it's gonna be somewhere in A tier. But hmm. More than ReZero. I did like it quite a bit. Did I like it better than these shows actually? I think it's somewhere around on par with these ones. I'm gonna be honest, trying to remember what happened in Dandadan season 2. I know that they the friend character of Momo got taken over by Evil Eye, and then so now he's also a character. Did any romance things happen between Okarun and Momo is one of the big things I'm trying to remember, because that I feel like they did, but I can't think of any of the specific things that might have happened. Was season 2 with the hand holding scene in the car, or was that season 1? Because I think because they are so similar to each other and there was only like a 1 season buffer between the two seasons, uh it's all kind of like blending together in my mind as to what happened in season 2 versus season 1. I think either way for now I'm just gonna leave it there in A, because I know that I enjoyed it a lot, and I can't necessarily say that I enjoyed it any more or less than season 1, because again I'm mixing up all the scenes in my head as to what happened in which season. So let's just move on. 2 Year Eternity, Fumetsu no Anatae, season 3. This one was cool. Uh, in the sense that season 1 and 2 were in these like this ancient like civilization type of thing, and then suddenly we're basically thrust into modern day Japan, but it's not Japan. It's whatever world this story is set in. Um, and it's still going, so I feel like I shouldn't even necessarily rate it right now. But from what I have seen, I've been quite enjoying it. I'm not gonna put it in S. I'm gonna have it in A, which is a downgrade from like season 1 was one of my favorite shows at the time, and still is. I love season 1 of 2 Year Eternity. Season 2 I didn't enjoy that much, so I kind of forgot who all the characters were when they reappeared in season 3. But like being reintroduced to them, I got a good sense of who they were again. But yeah, season 3 has been really interesting, just the way it's also exploring the characters in this now modern setting. Uh, uh, yeah, from what I've seen, let's put it like low A. I don't think it's better than anything else here. But also it hasn't finished, so it has time to improve. Lord of Mysteries. I did not like Lord of Mysteries. I don't think it deserves an F tier, but if you are, I feel like it was made for people who read the webtoon, uh, because it either didn't explain anything that was going on, or it explained it so quickly and so densely that I wasn't able to follow any of it. So like the magic system. So again, I don't really care for power systems with big explanations or anything. I feel like uh it it doesn't help my understanding if you're trying to explain like level scaling and like power scaling and trying to explain the ways that the powers work, unless it's like fairly fairly simple to explain, but also fairly simple to expand upon with something like, say, Witch Hat Atelier has a really good way of explaining how their magic system works, and then also how that magic system it can be expanded upon in various ways, and the ways that things can mix together to make it work better. Um, so I think that's a really good power system. Whereas this one explained nothing or explained too much in one go, and I couldn't follow anything that was happening. Like the show, beautiful to look at, and also really, really cinematic soundtrack and an amazing ending theme song. But my God, I could not tell you what the show was about. It was an isekai, I think, Chinese isekai, but to be, but Guy is in this other weird steampunk world where he has magic, and then also he exists in this cloud space where he's like, I'm just gonna be a Giga Chad. I'm gonna pretend I know everything, and then it just works. Uh, yeah, maybe people who read the webtoon enjoyed it more. I saw a lot of mixed reviews for this show in general, and I can only say that I didn't like it. So I will leave it at that. What do we have next? Okay, we have quite a lot still. I'm gonna quickly run to the bathroom and get myself some more water. But if you have any thoughts on the list thus far, let me know, and I'll be back in a sec. Forgot my cup. Huh. Okay. Okay, so what do we have next up? Next, we have A Star Brighter Than the Sun, the most recent shoujo romance show that came out. Um, 太陽よりも眩しい星. And this one, I think it started off quite strong as far as shoujo romances go. Because it gave me a lot of Aoharaido vibe. What did I say initially? I said it was like Aoharaido mixed with something else. It gave me the similar vibes, but as it started going on, it started falling into more generic territory. So I think I stopped liking it as much as the show continued onwards. But it was still enjoyable, and for people who are not super initiated to shoujo romance but want to get into the genre, I think it's a fine one to sort of to start people off with. It's not it kind of has some of the tropes, but what I liked was actually that she does kind of that there is progression in their relationship, which is a big thing that never used to happen a lot in shoujo romance. Their relationship does progress. It's not quick by any means, but like there is progress by the end of the season. Whereas, and it's only a 12 episode show. Whereas, like I know a lot of people who are commenting, because I would read some of the comments on episodes after I finished watching, and people were complaining that it was like, oh, what a snooze fest. It's so slow. They're never gonna get together or anything like that. And I mean, uh, clearly those people have never watched Kimi ni Todoke, because oh my god, that one was slow. So yeah, no, this one was kind of just like your bog standard shoujo romance. It was fairly good. I enjoyed it to a middling extent. I won't think about it much uh in the coming year. And if it doesn't get a second season, then yeah, I will say that I very much liked the implied love romance rival, um Ayukawa, the gray hair guy. I think he was a way more interesting character than Koki, but yeah, I'm not upset with the way that the show progressed overall. So yeah, let's just leave that one at that. And this next one is Geisen Shoujo Ibunka Koryu. I forget what the English title is, like cultural exchange with the game center girl, something like that. It was okay. It was fine. It was kind of cute, and it was funny hearing Sally Yamaki speaking with a British accent, a terrible British accent, but a British accent nonetheless, which is uh I'm glad that they at least got an English speaker at all, because this show would have been very, very different if had the main British girl not been an English speaker. And we know, based on how many things we have seen where English in Japanese shows in anime is whew, it leaves a lot to be desired, let's say. Um Surprisingly, I think her parents, the main character Lily's parents, were also not that they were clearly like speaking with accent, like Japanese accents. That's just something that is hard for Japanese people to get over. But both of them, they did actually get like English speaking Japanese people for those roles. And while their like intonation and the flow of their sentences was a little bit off, it was their English did sound like fine for the most part. Just like not native or anything, but the fact that this show got as many English speakers as it did uh is already a testament to the fact that, like, hey, these voice actors exist. Please hire them. Even if they're just Japanese people who do have some pedigree of English speaking ability, please hire them over just like whatever uh high profile high profile voice actor or actress uh exists, so that you can get their name behind your project and then have them speak terrible English, because again, these people exist in Japan. Ah. So next, okay, next big heavy hitter, Silent Witch. Yeah, Silent Witch. I really really enjoyed Silent Witch, and I went in with very low expectations of it. Not to say that I thought it was gonna be bad, but I didn't think it was gonna be good. It sounded like it was gonna be because the premise is kind of dumb. I will say. I actually, do I want this in S? Maybe it could be a low S. I think it's more A territory, but it could be a low S. We'll see how the rest of the A's kind of pan out. But I think the premise of it is kind of silly, where it's like, oh, right away they tell you it's like she's the first witch mage in this world to have developed and mastered
incantationless magic, which is crazy. So she's promoted to one of the seven most powerful mages in the world, and she is also just like super powerful as well. But the whole premise is because she she learned how to do that because she was too shy and socially awkward to talk to people, and that's sort of like the comedic aspect of it that carries on throughout the show. But what I liked is that it actually isn't just used as a comedic gag. It's used to show like, oh, she's like a socially anxious person. Here's how we're gonna address that, and then also try and help her change throughout the show. And so it wasn't like what could have just been like a dumb gag actually ended up being sort of a way to show her character growth over time, which I thought was not expecting at all based on the premise, and I really appreciated that. Also, it looked beautiful. We had a Cygames team on the soundtrack. I think were they also the ones who did the show? I can't remember off the top of my head, but I know they were involved. Um, but yeah, looked amazing, sounded amazing. I it's probably one of my favorite soundtracks from the year, and yeah, just way better than expected. I think yeah, it might I might actually bump it up to S. Because I think did I enjoy it more than Blue Box? I think in hindsight I feel like I did, but at the time of watching I was enjoying Blue Box more than I was enjoying this show while I was watching it, but not to say that I wasn't enjoying it, but yeah. Um way better than expected. If you haven't watched Silent Witch, please give it a shot because it is not at all what the premise would have you believe it is. Uh Rascal Does Not Dream of Santa Claus, the second season. I had to catch up on. So I also, this is another show I didn't watch until it finished airing because I had to catch up on all the movies because uh, all the movies are actually like necessary sequels, apparently, or I guess midquels between the two seasons, and there's a lot of context that you probably could get away with just watching. I can't remember which movie it is, but just watching like one of the movies, uh, and not the rest, and just going straight into season two. You'd miss some context, obviously, but I think it would probably still make enough sense that you could follow what's going on. But um, I forgot how much I liked this show. The Rascal. I guess it's the Rascal series, but I always just call it the Bunny Girl series, even though Bunny Girl is not really a thing in season two. Um, yeah, I enjoy it a lot. And it's weird because now that I'm not watching it, I don't think about it at all. And I had honestly kind of I think part of the reason that I didn't watch it, not just because of the movies that I needed to catch up on, but also I wasn't watching it because it had left my radar completely. And I think that when it started airing, it was like, oh yeah, that was a thing I watched years and years ago that I think I liked. What did I like about it? So I actually went back and rewatched the entire first season as well, and then all the movies, and it was kind of like, okay, I remember why I liked this show. It deserves to be deserves a watch, and it is weird that I've kind of forgotten how it goes. I know what it was all about, and I can clearly see moments in my head from the show that happened, but did I like it more than Rudy Rocks? I don't think so. I did like it more than Food for the Soul though, so I'm gonna stick it there. Definitely a high ranking show in my opinion. Uh Taco P. Ooh, Taco P. This one was rough. A rough watch for me because I mean I work with kids Shizuka's age. And so that season one, the end of or not season one, sorry, the end of episode one was like, oh my god, what in the actual, ugh, like this is not fun. This is not fun, and I knew it wasn't gonna be fun going in, but I didn't think it was gonna hit as hard as it did when it did. Uh, But yeah, I will. I like. I'm not gonna. I won't say too much because it's hard to say things without spoiling. But even just looking at this image where they're sitting by the pipes and whatever, but I had never noticed that the you've got the ribbon surrounding the whole thing, which is like, ooh, that hits hard. And yeah, and I think I was seeing some not a lot, but like, loud haters are loud. So I was seeing some loud haters of the show being like, "Oh, it's so unrealistic. No one would ever like this would never happen to kids this age," or like this is way too this is like torture porn. And we're just watching the worst aspects of humanity. No, I haven't put it anywhere yet. I'm still just I'm just holding it because I want to talk about it. I think it's probably gonna go here. Or actually, because it's not a show it wasn't a thing I enjoyed, is the thing. I I appreciated the story, but I definitely didn't enjoy it. And so uh I think I'll put it there. But yeah, it does hit a little too close to home, just me working with kids this age in Japan as well. And I have seen my fair share of bullying. Have they not watched any anime? Promised Neverland, Made in Abyss. Have they not watched any anime? Who are we talking about? My students. My students have watched anime. My students watch a lot of anime. I talk about quite a bit of these shows with them, or I talked about a lot of these shows with them throughout the year. Um, but my junior high kids watch. Some of them were talking to me about Takopi, which I thought was a weird thing for them to have watched because the oldest kids in that age are 15. But my elementary kids definitely I wouldn't want I want them to get the messages from the show that there are people that will help them when they need help. Oh, people saying this is unrealistic. I don't know. They're the haters are haters, like whatever. But yeah, no, to those haters, I have seen enough bullying here in Japan with kids this age. I have seen some I wouldn't say things got this far, uh, but I have seen kids not that are victims of not even necessarily bullying, but you can see early onset depression in some of these kids, and things I will say things have happened that I would not ever wish on anyone, let alone children. So I will leave those comments at that. Let's just say the most unrealistic part of Takopi is Takopi himself. That's about it. And I think at the end of the show, they kind of show that things can get better. And I appreciate that message because I think, especially here in Japan, with bullying being quite as big a problem as it is, I think it has some messages that people need to see and hear. Although Japanese people are very, very high on running away from those kinds of problems when they watch anime and stuff, because that's one of the reasons why Agretzko is not popular over here. As much as I love Agretzko, but yeah. Anyway, getting back on topic, the next show that we have is Anne Shirley, the Anne of Green Gables remake, or not remake, but anime, the newest iteration of it. I like this quite a lot, actually. Would I put it in A? Yeah, I think it's a low A. It's again another show that I watched after it was finished airing. I initially didn't even realize it was arguably my favorite composer writing the soundtrack, Oshima Michiru, until someone in my Discord mentioned it. It's not my favorite soundtrack by her, but it's different than a lot of the things I've heard from her. But still very recognizable as her composition style, and I really enjoyed that. So yeah, I would also rate the show highly. I thought it was really, really sweet and really, really nice to watch, a nice thing to just kind of like watch at my own pace as well. I could imagine myself having watched this week after week. I think it would lend itself well to that style of watching, but watching it at the pace that I did was also quite enjoyable. And I didn't binge it. I just watched maybe a few episodes at a time, like two or three every night for a while. And yeah, it was good. It's obviously a story that has been told many times over. It is based off like an 1800s Canadian story. So yeah, it's existed. But this was actually my first conscious time consuming this story. I think as a Canadian, when I was a very young kid, I probably saw some of the old movie iterations or TV show iterations on, and I have vague memories of it being on TV when I would be at like my neighbor's house or something. But I I think I probably only have been like maybe 3 or 4 at the time when that was happening. So this is my first real experience of the story of Anne of Green Gables, and I liked it. I liked it a lot. It was very cute. Next, we have Kowloon Generic Romance, which disappointed me a bit, I will admit. I went in with high expectations because I'd heard a lot of good things about the story, and then ultimately found myself a bit confused. So I think this is going to sit somewhere in B. Yeah, I think it's going to sit here in B. No, there. There in B. Yeah, I was kind of confused because I feel like they never explained what Genetera was in the show, and maybe they do in the manga, maybe they don't. But I never really understood what it was or what it was ever supposed to be. Uh, I feel like they definitely gave some kind of an explanation as to what it was towards the end of the show, but I just didn't really understand, and they never explained how it worked or what it was all about. So it got really confusing because the initial story was cool and like the romance aspect and the mystery of it was really cool. But then when everything with the actual like Genetera machine started becoming more tied to the mystery aspect of it all, that's when I felt like things started getting messy because I wasn't understanding what it was all supposed to be. So I did like a lot of what the show was offering. I love the aesthetic of it. It having that sort of 90s style art style, but in a more modernized take on the 90s aesthetic, which we are seeing with some older shows. I know I haven't watched Ranma Half, but I think it kind of keeps up that art style a little bit. And then we're getting a lot of the gag shows like Osamatsu-san and things like that that are also keeping up that style. But yeah, I think I liked it aesthetically more than I did for what the story ended up becoming. It started off strong, but then maybe it needed a two core run to tell its full story. I think 12 episodes was probably not enough for it, or 13 or whatever it was. Yeah, so let's move on. Gachiakta. I dropped it. I think I've already mentioned a few times now. I'm Battle Shonen out. I can't with Battle Shonen anymore. I am sick of hearing about power systems and how they work when ultimately how they work doesn't really matter. You just have to watch them use their powers. And so I hate long-winded explanations of how power systems work. Uh and yeah, no, I don't like Battle Shonen shows anymore. I can't do them. I was never the hugest fan of them in the first place, but yeah, Gachiakta was not it wasn't doing anything new for me. Uh, this is high A or low S, had good art. I mean, me dropping slash pausing it is not a rating at all. It's just something that I didn't watch. Uh, yeah, I couldn't. Whether its art was great or not, like sure, I thought it looked cool, yeah, but Angry Boy Fights Oppressive System is a story I have seen too many times in anime to care to continue watching. And when it's told in a battle shonen format, even less so. So again, this is just my list. Like, you can people have their own opinions, and obviously we have disagreements. I think, as you can see in my list, I have an inclination towards romance and slice of life, and then the occasional like drama type of thing. But yeah, uh, battle shonen, nah, that's about it. I don't have too much to say on it. Gachiakta is just not for me. Maybe I'll pick up the manga because I've heard that the art looks even better there. But I like the character surrounding him, not the main character. I mean, that's usually how battle shonen goes, though. So, and if he's the main character at the forefront all the time, then I don't want to watch a story that's mostly about him anyway. But yeah, uh, either way, you're not going to convince me to watch it because this isn't the kind of show that I want to watch. I'm not even gonna continue on with Jujutsu Kaisen. I think I've seen enough of that to know that I don't care about it anymore. Chainsaw Man is probably the only thing I will continue off of, and that's only because I like the Reze arc so much. But yeah, I'm not gonna watch Hell's Paradise either. I think I was debating it when I was looking at the shows that are coming up this season, and nope, that's another one. I know what I like and what I don't like, and I can't keep watching things that I don't like, uh, just for the sake of saying that I watched them. So that's that. And then so on the opposite end of that spectrum, we've got Fragrant Flower Blooms with Dignity. Hana wa sakurin to. Oh wait. Hana. Kaoru hana wa rin to saku. That's the title. I'm putting this in S. Opposite end of the spectrum, and now again, this is where you can see my biases for certain types of shows comes out. Actually, this goes way higher than that. I enjoyed this a lot. I liked that the characters talked about the problems they were having and then talked them out with each other to solve them quickly. And I know a lot of people were calling this I'm Sorry, the anime, but you know what? Having them apologize to each other and sort through their problems is better than adding fake drama where, yes, high schoolers do that, where they'll overthink and not say and not talk things out. But that's not a high school only problem. Adults do that too, and it's clearly trying to portray these as mature characters, like people who are in tune with their feelings and know what they are about. So I think that's better than having them just, you know, create drama through a sense of like them not talking to each other about their problems. And I think it handled it really well. And they are a cute couple, Rintaro and Kaoruko. So short, sweet, and I want them to continue on with that. Let's put this. I forget what this is called. This is like where the three assassins are in the hero's party and they all want to kill him for their own reasons. I dropped it. I think I was thinking about just keeping it on pause because I didn't hate it while I was watching those first few episodes of it, but it is just like a seasonal slop type of show, and it wasn't particularly good. Uh, but I don't know. I might give it another chance at some point down the line, but I don't have a huge inclination to do so, although the same thing could be said for Zenshu, which I did give another chance and then it was about what I expected it to be. So, yeah. But yeah, this one, from what I saw of it, it was just like it was whatever. It was your basic seasonal show. Um and I know people are going to be looking at this and seeing Gachiakta amongst all of this seasonal slop and wondering why it's there, but again, it's just my tastes. Ame to Kimito. This was a show I wasn't even planning on watching initially. I think I clicked on it by accident and then just left it on, and it ended up being really chill and really cool. I liked the vibe of it quite a lot. Um, I don't know that I would necessarily recommend it because it's not really a show about anything. I was a little bit not annoyed but confused by why none of the characters in the show seemed to know what a tanuki was. Um, except for maybe I think it was the mom questioned it, and then but then the daughter was like, no, it's a dog, and she was like, oh, okay, I guess it's a dog then. So yeah, but I enjoyed it. It was a cool vibes show, and it was one that I didn't really have to pay super close attention to what was happening on screen, because a lot of times it was just like chill things, chill vibes on screen. It was definitely a second monitor type of show. Let's see, what else do we have? We're getting close to the end of this, so my hope to get this done uh by 9 o'clock my time here uh is already broken. So maybe but before 10, let's say. Kakko no Iinazuke season 2, which was only 12 episodes and the first season was 24 or something. This was not good, but I did like it better. Lord of Mysteries I hated just because I didn't know what was happening at all. Yeah, no, it was not good. Would I put it in? No, I wouldn't put it in an F, because if I put it in F, then I'd have to put Lord of Mysteries in an F. Um, yeah, no, Kakko no Iinazuke. I feel like I remember liking season one, at least the first half of season one, and then see the second half I don't remember as much, but I don't feel like I disliked it. But season two was bad. Whatever I liked about season one did not carry over for my enjoyment or lack of in season two. I really hated the newly introduced character, I as well. I found her very, very annoying, and then was sad to discover that her voice actress was the same for Anna from Dangers in My Heart, because I didn't realize at first, and then when I found that, I was like, oh no, one of my favorite characters becoming this like thing for this show. But that happens quite a lot. Yeah, it's not worth talking about. I barely remember what happened in that show for season two, in terms Kako ni Inazuke, not Dangers in My Heart. Okay, Watari-kun's something something is gonna collapse, I think is the title of the show. Yeah, dropped it. It seemed like it was gonna be like a very pretty show, even if it had kind of a dumb premise, or not dumb premise, but a basic one for your seasonal slop. And then nope, it wasn't that pretty. It was your basic seasonal slop, and it had the worst. I'm never gonna forget the TikTok dance opening, because it was just this, and then it was this, but them naked, and I remember seeing it and just thinking, like, is this a dance? Is this supposed to? Are they trying to make this into a TikTok dance? Because you're going up against Witch Watch, so that's not gonna work. Yeah, no, it was not good. I don't even remember what happened in those first couple episodes that I watched. Just bad. Next, meet me at the food court. Or see you again at the food court. Food court de mata shita. This one was surprisingly enjoyable, and I loved that Wada was the black hair girl, was so unhinged. Uh, was this a short show? I can't remember. I feel like it was like 12-minute episodes, or maybe it was even shorter. Who knows? But yeah, no, I actually enjoyed this quite a bit. I would say, yeah, somewhere around here. I think it was a good length. It was a short. Each episode was short, and it was just long enough to like explore the silly gags that they wanted to go through in each episode. And yeah, I thought it was an interesting look at these two just like opposite characters who became friends and are also opposite to what their appearances would imply. But yeah, no, it was fun, and a little bit unhinged at times, but mostly just in the sense of what they would like to talk about. So yeah, good little short comedy anime. Next, Penny and Stocking, season 2. Definitely not as good as season 1. In fact, not even close to as good as season 1. Um, hmm, Probably around here. I did enjoy it still, and I watched it in English, even though all the voice actors changed for. I don't know all the reasons behind it. I know that the original voice actress says there was some controversy with them like at the very least like years ago. I don't really watch shows in English anymore, so I don't follow the drama of uh voice actors and stuff like that happens in the English speaking world. And then Garter Belts, I think that's more of like a different issue. Is the old character was Patrick Seitz, so they probably just wanted to get an actual black voice actor for uh his thing. Either way, he sounded fine. I didn't care. All they all sounded fine. They just sounded different. Um, but I think the original was better, and I don't think that it needed this. But it was fun. It was fine. Yeah, yeah. It sits at a low B for me, I think. Um, Study solo camping for 2 dropped. I think I watched the whole first core, the first 12 episodes, or at least got close to it, and then finally decided if you want to see bad animation, this one had it. Like, people talk about One Punch Man because that's a high profile show, but this one, I don't know what happened with this show, but like I feel like the first episode and maybe even the second episode did not look that bad. It looked like kind of your kind of standard seasonal show, like mid-tier seasonal show. And then around episode 3 or 4, it just took a huge nosedive. uh Characters, you could see the individual frames of them like moving their arms and stuff. Proportions were off in every shot. Perspective was off in every shot. um it felt like they stopped being like shaded properly as well, so the shadows on them were it looked almost like it was just colored line art at some points. And none of the food looked particularly good, so it didn't even have the Uticamp appeal of where the food looks amazing. Not that Uticamp is anything comparable to this. Uticamp is amazing. This one was just ooh, would not recommend. And if it were a one core show, then it would be sitting here. But because it was two, and I didn't complete uh, both cores of it, it's sitting and dropped. But it was definitely an F tier because it wasn't interesting either. Witch Watch. Witch Watch. I think it grew on me more over time because initially I thought that it's not a B show. I need to scroll up. But Witch Watch, I think initially I was kind of like, it's kind of funny, but it's not doing anything crazy. It's just like a new gag show that I was enjoying. But over time, it started to grow on me. I started really getting attached to the characters and the way that they were written. It felt like the creator, had a good understanding of their characters. And I liked where the story was going as well. That it never felt like they were forgetting about the story, even though the main plot points were only ever coming up every few episodes, I would say. So yeah, this one was enjoyable. I think I liked it. I like Witch Watch. Thinking back on it, actually, I like it quite a bit. Let's say a little somewhere around ReZero Dawn to Dawn level, I think. So let's put it here for now. Yeah, and then again, also it had the TikTok dances that people were doing. My students were doing a lot of them, and I don't even know if they knew what it was from. Also, when it got to the English textbook characters episode, hilarious. I think everyone, all the other English teachers that I know, a lot of us just saw that episode. I mean, other people were watching the show as well, but I showed that episode specifically to a bunch of people. Everyone lost their shit. It was so funny. Dress Up Darling season 2. I like Dress Up Darling. I forgot that the show was as like ecchi as it is, or not ecchi, but not ecchi. What is the word? I guess that Marin is that as Marin as she is, cause it's been a while since season 1 aired, and I remembered like I loved her character. I just couldn't remember why, and then watching it, it was like, oh yeah, this is why I like her. She's very true to herself, which is a little bit unhinged, but you know what? Go off, Queen. You understand yourself well. And that is the most important thing. I am gonna put this quite high actually. Romantic. Uh yeah. Hmm. I think it's about on par with Ruri Rocks in terms of my enjoyment of it and above uh Bunny Girl Senpai. Okay. Oh, there's a show. Need I say anything? The fact that I have gotten this far into the show, I guess I'll say a little bit about Rent a Girlfriend. What is this, season 4? Um, I actually liked season 3. I'm not even gonna lie about that. The movie arc. I thought that one was well handled. I thought it was a good way to explore Chizuru's character and finally have her expressing herself a little more honestly, and the way that the cuck dude, I don't remember his name anymore, the main character, the protagonist, the way he helped her through all of that, I thought it was actually like fairly well written, and comparatively to the rest of Rental Girlfriend, 100%, like so much better than anything else that had been written into the show. But yeah, then this season came around and it was not that, and I really just wanted to watch it to see the pool meme, and it didn't even happen in this part of this season. It's going to come up in the next season, which I think is not technically a new season. I think they're calling it part 2 of this season, which makes sense. But yeah, the pool meme didn't happen, so I am very disappointed that I didn't get to see it animated, but I'll see the clips when it happens. So for now, this is just in F. There's no ranking to the Fs. Cuck dude, face blue smiling. Oh, I guess it's just not popping up in my chat as an emoji, but I see you. I see you there. Uh, yeah, no, this there's no rankings to the F tiers. They are failures. So let's move on to Bon. I liked Bon a lot. I think I am part of the audience that it speaks to. Um, and I watched it in English and Japanese actually, just because it's like it's YouTubers, right? So, and well, not YouTubers only, but you know, it's Gigax Anime. Um, I'm gonna put it quite high actually in A. It's Gigax Anime, and then I kind of wanted to hear Sydney's performance in the English version of it, so I watched both. Teared up to both. It hit me quite hard because again, like I think it's a story that speaks very much to expats, uh, or not even necessarily expats, but you know, people who have moved far enough away from the place that they grew up and knew all their life, and have tried to start a new life somewhere else. And obviously, for me, you know, I'm a Canadian now living in Japan, and I don't get to go home that often, mostly because it's super expensive too, and I need to save for school. But me going home just this past Christmas was the first time I'd gone back in 3 years. Uh, so yeah, I think the story of Bond really spoke to me. I don't think it's like a perfect movie or short film or anything, and I do understand some of the criticisms that people had of it. I've not seen that many, but I have seen a few. Um, but I do also think that a lot of the criticisms that I have seen are people, they just said it was boring, like the movie was boring, which like I mean, I guess if it doesn't, if the story doesn't speak to you, which I can imagine if you're someone who hasn't really moved around much, then it probably wouldn't as much as it would to someone who has. But I wouldn't call it boring. It just is not relatable. So yeah. But also, if I were to also take into account the documentary that he put out with the movie, this is easily Bond would easily be an S tier. But that's related but not part of the anime, so I'm just gonna leave it there where it is. The documentary made me cry though. I will say, it was very very good. Mikado no Sanshimai wa Angai Choroi. The dealing with the Mikado no sisters is a breeze. Was surprisingly good. Not A tier good. Not high B tier good, but for a harem show with a protagonist that I hated, I actually was surprised at how much I found myself enjoying the show. Because I've also grown out of harems for the most part. I'm not above watching them, I will admit that much, but I don't particularly find them interesting anymore. Where should I put this? Let's go. Yeah, let's go. We'll go here. Uh, I think that's the start of mid tier B tier, whereas low. Yeah, I think Penny and Sucking is more of a low B tier. Yeah, no. Surprisingly enjoyable this one, the Mikado no Sisters one. So if you want something simple to watch that is better than it should be, then give it a chance. Because it was not disappointing, which is surprising. Chitose-kun wa ramune bin no naka. Chitose is in the ramune bottle. I feel like I shouldn't rank this because it's not over and it hasn't really done enough for me to give a proper ranking to it. Actually, I kind of, you know what? I kind of want to take this out as well. Take Fumetsu out as well because unfinished shows I feel weird ranking if they haven't reached some kind of like a big turning point or like conclusive feeling that I can feel like I can rank that half. Like Fumetsu had its big turning point moment, but it also started addressing it as well. So I feel like I need to rate this as a whole. This one has just had a weird production schedule, so or production issues, I guess. So I haven't seen enough of the story to rate it at all anyway. It's only like 8 episodes in or something, 8 or 9 episodes. Digimon Beat Break, same thing though. If I were to give Digimon Beat Break a rating right now, it'd probably sit like low B, high C. It's fine. It's not anything super worth talking about. One Dance. If we're just going off animation, C. If we're going off story and animation, low B, I think. Yeah, I think actually here, just above Penny and Stocking. So one of the things, like a lot of people actually really seem to like the writing in it, and I did too. But as someone who has a dance background, I can say with full certainty that the writer was doing one of two things. They were either trying to make the dance appeal, like the I guess the dance jargon and the ways that they talked about dance, appeal to a wider audience, so they made it more digestible, I guess, or they themselves don't know that much about the dance scene. Specifically, um, just the ways that they had a lot of dancers in the battle dance segments. Who I forget the name, the guy with the mask, the b-boy with the mask, the way that he talked um about the way that he dances and faces off against his opponents, I was constantly like, no self-respecting battler in the dance world would ever speak this way or like think. They might, you might have like the odd person who thinks like super highly of themselves thinking that way, but the way he talked about it, and also the I guess this is also shifting in the breaking world where we are starting to see, um, unfortunately, we are starting to see a lot less freestyling and a lot more just sets, pre choreographed sets, to just basic beats so that they can go out and like perform the best coolest looking set that they can. So when he was talking about how sets are more important than like feeling yourself in the moment, uh I guess that's accurate, but I feel like it's not really well respected. So you don't hear people in the dance world talking about it as a positive, even if it is happening as a thing. So I think uh that was kind of weird. I think that was probably just to add some drama and make him into a more villainous character or whatever. Um Also, you would never have an all styles battle. Like you would never have a battle competition where you have different styles going up against each other because there's no way to judge. There's no way to fairly judge multiple styles against each other. So that felt like it was more so that they could just show off different styles of dance, but in a as someone with a dance background, it felt a little bit too unrealistic. It took me out of it. But I did like the writing. I liked the way that they were addressing things like his stutter, the way that Wanda was so supportive of Kabo throughout all of it. And yeah, I think it was not bad, but definitely there's a lot of room for improvement. And I would see, this is the kind of thing where I don't know if I want to pick up the manga or not because like this things like dance and music series are things that I feel like I only care about seeing in anime format, and because of the fact that you need the sound or you need the visuals, and so in a manga I don't know that I would enjoy it that much. And I didn't mind the CGI. I didn't like the look of the CGI, but the use of it was perfectly fine for me in One Dance. So yeah, we'll see. It's definitely, I would be super surprised if it gets another season, but maybe I'll take a look at the manga at some point. Let's see. Next we have Sannenzigumi Ginpachi Sensei. It's been a long time since I watched anything Gintama related. And the first episode made me laugh a lot because I think I had not experienced the humor of it in quite a while. Like shows like pure comedy shows that I guess you can't really call this a pure comedy show. It also has, or Gintama, a pure comedy show, because it also does have the dramatic aspects to it. But yeah, I haven't watched Gintama in a long time. I've only seen the first season, which is, to be fair, like 100 something episodes. And then I never moved on to season any of the succeeding seasons. Uh but I think after episode 1 or 2, it started getting stale for me. I wasn't really that interested into the comedy that it was presenting. I think I like it. I prefer it more in Gintama format, in the setting of Gintama, than I did in this. Uh, because it just feels a little more absurd, I guess, in the setting of weird alien Edo than it does in just this modern school setting. So I'm gonna put this pretty low actually. Um, yeah, I think I was kind of over it by the end and just waiting for it to finish. Shumatsu Touring was, I didn't like it. But I did like it more than the ballpark show. Did I? Nah, not really. Yeah, Shumatsu Touring was, there wasn't enough explanation, which I think like I understand what they were going for with it, where they were trying to just like present the world and you would try and like put the pieces together, but because they didn't explain like anything that had happened and they were just mostly focused on these girls playing around with the ruins of old Japan. I guess modern Japan, but pre-apocalypse Japan. Uh, we just didn't ever get a sense of what had happened to the world, and then I think when they finally made some attempt at hinting towards what might have happened at the end of the final episode, I was already so checked out that it didn't matter at that point because we got to see like a lot of like there was a lot of automated machinery, so it's like maybe there was some kind of robot war or something because there was the tank in episode 1, I think it was, or at least in the early episodes there was the tank. Heidi is a cyborg. uh I have no idea what Yuko, the main girl, no idea what her deal was. It never really explained that, and in every flashback with her she seemed older than she does in her current form. uh and then yeah, everything we saw about the world, it was like there were all these things. It's like there's a big hole blown, or Mount Fuji had clearly erupted at some point because there was smoke coming out of it. uh you can see all these other things, like everything's flooded, overgrown. There are the remnants of like this futuristic technology left around all over the place. Bunkers, they themselves came from a bunker. um but yeah, like ultimately there was never really a hint at what had happened at the world to the world, and they weren't interacting it with the world in a way that would really help explain it. They were just going through it and being like, "Wow, look at this thing we found," and then moving on. So I didn't think it was very good. Um, and in fact, I'll actually move it down to below Zatsutabi, because at least Zatsutabi explained what everything was. Actually, maybe less than Turkey, because at least Turkey was kind of dumb funny. And maybe I'll move it. No, Turkey deserves to be there. Yeah. This ranking is also kind of arbitrary. I don't know exactly what I'm doing. No Tower of God. Was there a Tower of God this year? Not. I didn't watch Tower of God season 1. I only saw the first couple of episodes and then didn't continue because it didn't feel like I didn't really get what was going on in it, I think. Uh I think that was the first time that I really was enjoying Kevin Penkin's music because for people who know, I didn't really connect with Made in Abyss's music. Uh but Tower of God got to me. But I only watched like 1 or 2 episodes of Tower of God, so I didn't get to really get a great sense of how the music felt in that world beyond those first 2 episodes. But yeah, no. So no Tower of God. If there was a Tower of God season 2, I didn't watch it. And if it was this year, then yeah. Toa no Yugure was dumb. That's it. Better than Kakko no Inazuke, better than that show, better than Shumatsu Touring, better than Turkey, better than Rockwell Lady no Tashinami, probably about the same as Zenshu. Um, I thought the concept at the very beginning of Toa no Yugure was really cool. Um, Also a post-apocalyptic world type of thing where they're trying to find the main dude's fiance. Uh, and Even though she should have been dead for like 200 years at the point where he wakes up, but yeah, no, they fumbled it hard, and by the end of it, it just turned into not good storytelling in any way. They kind of lost the sauce partway through, and then when they finally got back on track, they made it dumb. So I would not recommend that to anyone. Does that make it an F tier? I mean, some of the things below it are not F tier, but I also that's a tough call actually. F tier in a different way. C tier because I enjoyed it more than these other shows, but these other shows I wouldn't consider F tier necessarily. Weird call actually. Maybe I would put it. No, it did look pretty at times, so I'll give it that. Next, ego ni taenai shokuba desu. It's a C tier. Oh no, it's a B tier. A low B. I don't have much to say about this one. It was just a regular seasonal show, and it was fine. I thought some parts were funny, but most of it was just eh. Let's put it there. Kashiwada-san. From what I've seen of the review score that it has on Mal, it is not doing that great. And I liked it a lot. Not A tier a lot, but I thought this was very cute. I thought it was a nice there have been a few like Takagi-san attempts to make new versions of like Takagi-san, the teasing master Takagi-san. Uh which none have reached that potential yet, except for um, Dangers in My Heart. But then I think that story goes in a completely different direction than Takagi-san did, whereas and it's not as much of a gag thing, whereas a lot of these other ones are sort of like short vignette gag stories. Because there was this one, there was the Kubo-san Won't Leave Me Alone. I think there's been at least one more, maybe two more that have come out since Takagi-san the movie sort of ended the story off, unless we're gonna get the timeline where it's Takagi's daughter and Nishikata's daughter doing things, but we'll see if that happens. I wouldn't be surprised if they announce that within a few years. But this one I quite enjoyed actually. I thought it was like on the same level as Kubo-san in terms of filling that Takagi-san void, and I quite enjoyed it. I thought the idea of it was kind of silly, and the execution was decent. But see, I prefer seeing Angry Boy in this setting a lot more than I like seeing Angry Boy in this setting. Because in this one it's like, okay, well, here's Angry Boy fighting to get his life back and get revenge and rah rah rah. But Angry Boy in this setting is like, uh I'm not dumb, you're dumb, and I'm gonna prove why. And then he proves that he's dumb. So I don't know. Angry Boy in a comedy setting is funny for me. Angry Boy in a serious battle setting, not so much. Question out all you want. That's my logic. I was gonna say why don't you have Dungeon Meshi, but that's 24. Yeah, 24. Dungeon Meshi made my S tier. I think I put it higher than Frieren because my personal enjoyment, I enjoyed Dungeon Meshi more than Frieren overall. Um, but I do recognize that Frieren is probably the quote unquote better show. But Dungeon Meshi, I'm super looking forward to season 2. They haven't announced when it's coming out yet, but I suspect if not this year, then early next year, I think it'll be out, and I'm very excited for it, especially since I didn't realize Dungeon Meshi is a finished story either, so they don't have to worry about the same things that like Frieren is going through with its hiatuses and them catching up. I don't know what you're asking what about, but it's about Dungeon Meshi finished as it. Yeah, that's what I've heard. I've heard the story is finished. Is it not? Yeah, the manga. Either way, I've heard that the manga is done. If it's not, then I don't know where I heard that from, and why that person said it was done. But hey, uh, at the very least, it's not on hiatus the same way that Frieren is apparently going through some pretty bad hiatuses. Uh, but that's a bridge we will cross when we get there. So let's get on to these last four. Why is Umamusume? Oh, I think I put it on here because it was part 2 of Cinderella Grey. I won't rate that because it's the same as part 1. Isekai Quartet 3. Low B. It's fine. It's not something I think about much. I do like it better than Gintama or Gintoki or Ginpachi Sensei, and I did enjoy it more than this, and probably enjoyed it slightly more. Ooh, wait. Yeah. Oh, yeah, because it was the highs of Summer Pockets that had me putting it here. But yeah, I think Summer Pockets, the highs pull it above this. Even though Isekai Quartet, I feel like I enjoyed it more as a package. So we'll skip over Cinderella Grey because we already rated it. That's just the second half of it. Yano-kun I dropped. People were saying it was cute, and it has a fairly decent rating on Mal. I just thought they were boring. I thought the characters were boring. The the anxious main girl and the clumsy main dude. Uh, not not something that I was enjoying in those first two episodes or one episode that I watched. I thought they just didn't have a very good dynamic. But maybe I'll give it another chance. And then last, Watashi o tabetai hito de nashi, which started off really, really strong. I thought it was like, it looked and sounded amazing, and it had a cool premise. It was another exploration of characters' trauma, but then it got kind of not. I feel like they addressed the trauma in weird ways, and then it never felt like the human drama aspect that they were going for. It didn't feel like they ever captured the realism of it. So I felt a little let down by that. It felt very odd, and didn't fall into bad territory, but did fall into sort of average territory. So I think I enjoyed Mikado no Sisters more, even if I recognize that this was probably the better show. Um, yeah, because again, I'm rating more on my enjoyment than what I think the general consensus is, and that's it for things that I watched that came out in 2025. I did also watch more stuff in 2025, and if I had to say my favorite anime kind of thing that came out, it would not be any of these. It would be the live action 5 centimeters per second. I know that's a live action, it's not anime, but it's anime adjacent, and that is not just one of my favorite movies from last year, if not my favorite movie from last year, but probably one of my favorite movies of all time. It was like not live action One Piece. I haven't watched live action One Piece. I have still to this day not consumed a single piece of One Piece media at all. Don't? Really, I've heard like the live action is a decent way to get into the series. I'm actually just waiting for the remake to start up for me to finally dip my toes in. The one being done by Wit Studio. Um, I know my dad has watched the live action One Piece, but he watches everything, so I won't. Yeah, what? Wait for the remake? Okay. Yeah, I mean, I had no huge inclination towards watching the live action. I just had heard that as far as live action adaptations go, it's actually not bad. Uh and yeah, like my only thought was that I would maybe watch it to see what the hype of One Piece as a franchise is, because like obviously when you are in this community, everyone kind of knows something about One Piece, but because I've never consumed any of it, I just have like random tidbits of knowledge that don't mean anything to me. Uh but yeah, back on topic though. This is my list of things that came out in 2025. So S tier. Well, I guess I can edit it now if I have any changed thoughts, but I think this is more or less what I feel reflects how I feel about these things. We've got Orb at the very top, followed by Cinderella Grey, Umu Musume, Cinderella Grey, Chainsaw Man, the Reze arc, Apothecary Diaries season 2, Fragrant Flower Blooms with Dignity, Takopi no Genzai, Takopi's Original Sin, Yofukashi no Uta season 2, Blue Box, And those are my S tiers. Blue Box, yeah, Blue Box is definitely sitting on the edge of S and A. And then Silent Witch, same thing. For the A tiers, Silent Witch, I would be happy having it as an S tier, or the top of A. So it's probably sitting around the same level as Blue Box. I think had this one been a 2 core series, then I think Silent Witch would be definitely be an S tier. Um, but yeah, so A tier we've got Silent Witch, Bon, City, Doctor Stone Science Future, Ruri Rocks, season 2 of My Dress Up Darling, Bunny Girl season 2, Food for the Soul, Dandadan season 2, Witch Watch, ReZero season 3. Really looking forward to season 4 because again, I've heard that's where the story really picks up for ReZero, and again, I've only read up to the beginning of this season. So I don't know what happens in the next season at all. The Licorice Recoil shorts, 100 Girlfriends season 2, um, Flower and Ashura, which is I'm actually kind of sad that this wasn't better than it was, just because the story was a little bit iffy, and I don't think it'll get a season 2, but I really want it to get a season 2. So that might be I don't know if it's a light novel or if it's a manga, but at some point I think I might want to check that one out. Summer Hikaru died. Again, I recognize that this could probably be an S tier show, and I would not argue against anyone who would rate Summer Hikaru died higher than I did. I just it's not it just wasn't for me. That's all. But I may still check out season 2 when it starts airing. Just knowing that it's not really for me still. Um, and Shirley enjoyed a lot, thought it was really cute. And then we're down to B tier. At the top of B tier, we've got Apocalypse Hotel. Again, I would not argue against people who think that it should be rated higher. It just, as much as I enjoyed it, I don't think I enjoyed it as much as the cult following seems to have enjoyed it. Shangri-La season 2, not as good as season 1. It dragged a bit, so that's why it's in B. Betrothed to My Sister's Ex, a very nice shoujo show that explores the mental trauma of someone who had to live through abuse. Kashiwara-san, just a very cute junior high school romance story. Okitsura, surprisingly educational and fun. Unhinged Food Court de Matashita, Unhinged Wada having fun conversations. This one, I feel like this one should be lower, but then I don't feel like it should be lower than Arumajo, and I feel like Arumajo is where it should be right now in this list. So yeah, this one, Star Brighter Than the Sun, Once Upon a Witch's Death, Amito Kimito, season 2 of My Happy Marriage, season 5 of Danmachi, Mikado no Sisters, the Watashi o Tabetai Hito de This Monster Wants to Eat Me, One Dance. Wow, I'm really testing my knowledge on if I know both the English and Japanese names. Panning Talking season 2, Kowloon Generic Romance, Summer Pockets, Isekai Quartet 3 season 3, Akiaku Deijo, Tensei Oji-san, old. I don't know the English title for that one. Something about reincarnated as a villainess. Old man reincarnated as a villainess. Egao ni tainai shokuba desu. The one about the mangaka. It's just a silly, fun seasonal show. Ginpachi Sensei, and then C tier, Mono, Sag, but it could have done better. Meet Me at the Ballpark, Sakamoto Days, Aharen-san season 2, Zatsutabi, That's Journey, Zenshu, Toa no Yugure, Roku wa Reiri no Tashinami deshite, Turkey, the bowling show that is only about bowling and nothing else. Shumatsu Touring, Cultural Exchange with the Game Center Girl is the English title, maybe. Kakko no Iinazuke, Couple of Cuckoos Season 2, and Lord of Mysteries. Should I be counting Chinese donghua in these lists? I mean, this is the first one I've ever watched, but I do want to check out Link Click and To Be Hero X at some point, and I feel like if it's not that many, you know what? It kind of falls into this Eastern animation style stuff. And then F tier, we have the double whammy of Shinjike, the Shinji family children, and Rental Girlfriend. So props to you, author. You got both of your things put in F tier. And then the things that I dropped: Honey Lemon Soda, uh, Meraka Kuroiwa, something something. But I'm engaged to the girl I hate or something. Uh, I don't even know the title of this. Space Isekai. Uh, can a boy girl friendship survive? Gachiakta. Again, people are gonna see this and be like, why the hell is Gachiakta in your drop list amongst all of this trash? I've said my bit on it. Uh, the heroes party has assassins or something. That this thing Watari-kun something is gonna collapse. Solo camping for 2 and Yano-kun's ordinary days, and then these three aren't the first 3 aren't finished, and then Uma Musume I just accidentally put in twice. And that's it. That is my list. This took an hour longer than I thought it would, but yeah, those are my thoughts on the anime that came out in 2025. Again, I have watched at least a couple other things that didn't air in 2025, but I won't talk about them too much here because, yeah, I think this is comprehensive enough, and this gives you a sense of my taste. Again, Battle Shonen are not for me, even though Chainsaw Man's there up in S tier and Gachiakta's down here in drop. Yeah. So, what do you guys think of my list? Does it align with yours? From what I've heard from the chatter too, it does not. Makes sense for a teacher. W. Okay, thank you. I have the approval of the chatter. um, but yeah, I mean, it makes sense for a teacher. Having Takopi no Genzai up there is ooh, that's a stretch, but okay. But yeah, no, I do. This is my taste. I'd be curious to see how other people thought of the same or similar shows throughout the year. But yeah, that's my list. I'm not gonna share it anywhere, so just take a good look here. And yeah, thank you guys to the few chatters that stopped in. I think there were only 2 of you, unless that was just the same guy hopping in between Twitch and YouTube. I don't know why you'd do that, but thank you for stopping by and keeping me company. Hopefully, I kept you somewhat entertained for all of this. And yeah, I don't know when my next stream is going to be because the 3 ideas I had are the 3. Well, this is the 3rd one of 3. So hopefully, I'll be back to working on videos talking about the soundtracks from shows that I like or songs from the shows that are good, things like that. Don't know when it's gonna come out. I do have one in the pipeline though, so I'll be working on that when I can. Between all the other things I do, I don't go back to work until the 8th, so I have a bit of time to chill out and maybe get some work done. So until then, thank you for tuning in, and I will see you guys in the next stream. Bye.